5 assists in those 3 games. He leans in against Patan. The puck down, the season underway. Cazzola, one back in over his own line on the far side for Binkley, across the soul, near side at the Comet line, he clears to the center circle. Brought back in by Warning on the near side for the Mallards. He slips it into the near circle to Kovacs, he skates into the near quarter. He'll lay it off to the near half boards for Patan, to Kovacs in the near quarter. Kovacs battles along the boards against the checker and brings it to the near half wall. He's finally broken up by the Komets Cazzola. He'll snap it rink wide out to center. Taken in over the line along the far boards by Szydlowski. He draws a pair of Mallard checkers. Manfredo takes over, retreats to the far quarter, backhands along the outer boards, into the near circle now for Goodbranson, feed up the near wing to Kovacs in center, cross-eyes pass Ryan over the Komets line. From the far circle, Binkley backhands across to Curtis Leonard, near side of the Comet line, feed up the wall to center for Schaafsma, dumping down beside the Mallards net. Back to retrieve the puck, Dottie Harris for the Mallards, former Wichita Thunder defenseman back of his own goal. He snaps it right up the middle, and it's taken out the center ice for the Mallards by rookie Nathan Todd. He veers to the far side, hits the line, dumps in behind the Komets goal. Nagle whips it into the near quarter. Michael Parks gets a piece of it in the quarter. He's part of a traffic jam in the quarter. Jack Nevins digs for the Mallards. Nevins to the near half boards, last it in another tangle of players. Kyle Thomas, former Mallard for the Komets from the near half wall, will clear down the boards length of the ice, and we get the whistle. Our first stoppage with an icing call against the Fort Wayne Komets with 18:40 left in the season opener. Komets played 1 game for the Mallards, the opener to the 2014-15 season. Now the face-off will come in the Fort Wayne zone. The draw will be in the near circle. For the Mallards on the face-off, Brady Broussard back for a second season. Broussard leaning in for the drop of the puck against Brady Vail for Fort Wayne. Broussard wanted to top the circle into traffic, but attack clear by Curtis Leonard, cross-ice to center. Thomas poked up the middle, just in over the Mallard line from the high slot. Andrew Panzarella clears down the near side, all the way down beside the Comet goal. Leonard steps in behind to Vail in the near circle. Vail broken up right inside the line along the near boards by the Mallards. Pavel Janice, but he'll recover to clear up the near wing out through center to Garrett Thompson, crossing the line into the near circle. He fired over the Mallard crossbar. Vail at the far point only kept in for a moment. The puck is taken away from the Mallards up the middle out through center by Kevin Gibson. He'll cross the line, following the high spot, sweeping it softly on net. The stick save made by Nagle. From the near goal line, Gabriel Beaupré clears up the wing to Vail in center. Vail shoots the puck into the Mallard zone around the boards. Along the far half wall, the Mallards get a Branson after it. He took down the Komets, Brent Tate. The puck ricochets cross ice from the near point. Weber fired. The stick save made by Vail. From the near quarter for the Mallards, the puck will be cleared by Panzarella. Up the middle, out to the Komets line. Beaupré rolls it into traffic along the far wall in center ice. For the Mallards, it's shoveled up the far side, back it over the Komets line by Broussard. Beaupré sends it across to the near half boards. Weber couldn't clear. At the near point, it was held in by Warning. He'll pull up along the half boards. He fed into the near circle for 10 by the stick save Nagle. Kovacs near half boards. Fed into the high slot. Manfredo shot the stick save Nagle. Warning from the far corner retreats all the way back to the far point. He'll whip the puck around the boards. Goodbranson all the way into the near quarter. Slides it to Patan behind the net. He feeds Manfredo atop the first circle. The one-timer, a glove save. Nagle holding on. The Mallards crank up the pressure just under 3 minutes in, but we're still scoreless. Mallards 3 straight decent chances. Patan and Warning along with Kovacs up front leading the charge with help from Manfredo and Goodbranson. The face-off now is in the far circle in the Fort Wayne zone. Nathan Todd takes the draw for the Mallards. Todd will be opposed on the drop of the puck by Mike Cazzola. Todd won to the far half boards. Michael Parks brings it back toward the far point. He hands off just inside line, and the shot is swept wide from the far point by Jace Coyle. Then from back of the goal, Todd fed out to the near circle, and the puck was put right on goal by Harris. The stick save Nagle, back the other way, a break. Schaafsma through the near circle and on goal. He misfired as he pulled the trigger on the backhander. He was dumped from behind on his way in behind the Mallard defense, and he draws a slashing penalty with 3 minutes, 10 seconds gone in the opening period. It's the Komets going on the man advantage with the infraction whistled out against Dottie Harris. So the Komets go on the man advantage, the first team to grab the power play in this game. So that's the first power play of the season for Fort Wayne. Plenty of firepower for the Komets. On the opening face-off of the power play in the far circle in the Mallard zone, Cazzola lines up to take it. Matched up on the draw against Patan, and wanted him behind to Manfredo. He lost it in traffic, loose against the outside of the cage. It finally trickled in behind. Schaafsma fell, but fed it free to the far half boards. Skating into the far circle, Cazzola. He'll lay it off along the far half boards, where it's picked up by Kyle Thomas. He leaves it along the far half wall. Cazzola sends it back to the far point. Across by Binkley to the near point. For Szydlowski to Binkley at center point. A drive, stick save made by Vail. Loose along the near half boards. Manfredo poked up the middle, but not out. Binkley at center point kept in. Along the far half boards, David Friedman. He'll take it all the way to the end boards. His centering pass didn't connect. Carried cross ice off the near wall through center down over the Komet line. Nagle way out in the near circle, feet up the wing to Szydlowski through center. He crosses the Mallards line, drops to Friedman at the near point, to Szydlowski along the near half boards, checked by Manfredo. He battles among a crowd in the near corner. It trickles to the near half boards. Held it finally at the near point by Binkley. Atop the near circle, Szydlowski. Binkley at center point. Szydlowski atop the near circle, one time wide. Big caramel on the far boards all the way back into the Komets zone. 55 seconds left on the Harris penalty for the Mallards. The game scoreless just over 4 minutes into the first period. Beaupré out from behind his own net, skates right to the left, up the middle to the Komet line. He'll drop the puck off in his own high slot to Vail, who sends it up the near side just over the Mallard line into traffic. Patan is there, one timing down the near wall length of the ice. Nagle out behind the Komets net, slings the line to Baptista, wheeling off the near half boards. He'll drop to Beaupré near circle. He snaps it up the wing to Thompson in center. He feeds into the center circle to Baptista, crossing the line straight away. Off to the far half boards for Vail to Baptista, far quarter. Back to center point for Beaupré. Beaupré fed it atop the far circle. Vail centering pass broken up in the slot by Penzarella. Loose out high along the near boards before it was cleared for the Mallards by Patan. Down the wall, deep into the Komet zone. Vail from the near corner brings it in behind and slams on the brakes. Only 5 seconds left on the Komet power play. Leonard out from back of his own net, slides it up the near wing to Thomas in center. Full strength Mallards. Thomas cuts rink wide in over the Mallard line on the far side from the top of the circle. He chips it down the wall and behind the Mallard goal. A crowd of players. Szydlowski slapped it toward the side of the goal. And he bounced off a Mallard stick to the end boards. After it for the Mallards, Michael Parks. He'll clear it all the way down, and we get an icing call against the Mallards with 14:32 left in the opening period, and the game still scoreless. But a boost for the Mallards, fresh off a successful penalty kill. Fort Wayne, that is now 0 for 1. Michael Parks, a rookie, though he turned to pro last season. A shoulder injury kept him in just 3 games for Lehigh Valley in the American Hockey League. A face-off in the far circle coming up in the Mallard zone. David Friedman is out for the Komets against Todd Loose in the circle. Friedman prying at it. It trickles to the far half boards. Brent Tate pokes it to Friedman far quarter. Taken in behind the goal by Tate, a centering pass at the back of the goal. Todd in the far quarter slides it up the far side out to center ice. Parks over the line, swooping through the far circle, rolled off his stick as he cut in front. Parks near quarter steers along the boards to Todd far quarter. He'll feed it top the far circle, and it was blasted wide of the goal by Nevins. Weber near half boards for the Komets, clears up the wing to Friedman in center. He'll send it in the middle to the carry of the line by Crunk, driving it from long range. The glove save made by Vail. He holds on with 13:59 to go in the opening period. It's Mallards nothing and the Komets nothing on opening night. This is Mallards Hockey presented by Genesis Power Sports Performance. Clearance Center offers a large selection of new and used furniture for sale. Save money with Astra because they rented it first. Astra Clearance Center is located at 604 East 4th Street, Davenport, across from the Quad City Times building. Astra Clearance Center is open 1 to 6 p.m. Wednesday and Thursday, Fridays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can call Astra Clearance Center at 563-349-1203.
Genesis Physical Therapy and Wellness is open at 4017 Devil's Glen Road in Bettendorf with a combination of services unique in the Quad Cities. Available at the clinic are physical, occupational, and speech therapy services. Additional services are hypnotherapy, massage therapy, and sleep education. Our goal is not to only treat you when you are injured or sick, but to help you achieve a healthy lifestyle. For more information about this unique Genesis location, call 563-421-2460.
No score between the Mallards and Komets. 13:59 left first period. A face-off in the Mallard zone. The end to our left. David Friedman takes the draw for the Fort Wayne Komets. Friedman, a rookie for Fort Wayne, out of Robert Morris University. Komets fresh off the unsuccessful power play. Fort Wayne last season second in the league on the PP at 20.4%. Patin on the drop for the Mallards, loose in traffic in the far circle, plucked free for the Komets by Taylor Crunk, who fired wide. From the near half boards, Panzarella plays it up the wall to Broussard in center, a center circle feed. Picked up by Friedman, retreating it over his own line into the high slot to Beaupré, far circle across to Weber out to center. He hits the red line on the nearest side and dumps the puck down behind the Mallards net along the boards. Out to play it, Vail sent to the far quarter. Gibson rolled it up the boards into traffic right inside the lot. It's steered up the far side by Broussard out to center. Taken into the center circle as we get the whistle on the offside against the Mallards by Janice, who fed over to the near wing as we get the dust up with a crowd gathering in the near circle in the moments after Panzarella moved in offside on the near side. A crowd of players gathered to shove, but not much comes of it with 13 minutes and 29 seconds left in the first period. The score is still the Mallards nothing and the Komets nothing. Mallards kicking off what is going to be a 12-game season series with the Komets. These two teams in the reconfigured ECHL, both members of the Central Division in the Western Conference last year, both in the Midwest Division. Right outside the Komet line nearest side, Cazzola won the faceoff from Patin, backing over his own line in the nearest circle. Soul sent cross ice to Binkley, who dumped down the far wall and over the Mallard lot. From the far half boards, Patin brings it in behind to go to Branson near half wall. He'll clear it down the boards, all the way back into the Komet zone. Binkley in the near quarter, plays it along the outer boards to Szydlowski, far quarter, he gobs it up the wall. Manfredo far point kept in to Patin behind the net, centering pass. Shot out of the goal, but just bought off a deflection by Warning, and that around the net to the near post. Kovacs backhanded one into the goal crease, but it's covered up for the whistle by Nagle. Down on his knees and quickly back up with 13:02 left in the first. Warning a moment before the whistle, couldn't quite connect cleanly in front, trying to fight off a check. Warning 16 goals last season as a rookie out of the University of Minnesota for the Mallards. The Mallards' top returning goal scorer. The face-off now is in the Komet end. The draw in the near circle. Nathan Todd takes the draw for the Mallards. Todd made his pro debut in the AHL for Binghamton late last season, having turned pro out of the Ontario Hockey League. Here he gets tossed out of the face-off to be replaced by Parks. He'll go on the draw against Brady Vail. Parks went to Todd near half boards, to Harris near point. He'll wind the puck around the wall. Thomas will on the far half boards, golfs it up the glass out to center ice. Retreating toward his own line on the far side for the Mallards, Jace Coyle swaps cross-ice passes with Harris, then swoops across into the near circle himself before sliding the puck down the board's length of the ice. Leonard from the outer boards in the Komet zone shoots it away down the near wall, back the other way length of the rink. Adam Bay out to stop the puck behind the Mallard net for Jace Coyle, who played for the Komets 2 seasons ago, spent the last 2 years in Europe. He steps in front of his own net, clears up the middle off a Komet stick and center down beside the Fort Wayne net. Nagle moves it to Thompson near half boards. Thompson stripped of the puck by Nevin, swooping to the near goal line. His pass broken up in the near circle by Vail. He carries up the near side, out the center, across to Thompson, crossing the Mallard lot. He's checked by Gibson on the far half boards. They both went down to the quarter. The puck ricochets loose out of traffic on the far goal lot. Nevin steers it up the far wing to Todd, hitting the red lot. He'll shoot down the far boards in behind the Komet net. Nagle is out stopping the puck for the Komets. Beaupré is back to retrieve it for Fort Wayne. Beaupré slings it up the near boards into traffic and center ice. For the Mallards, Grant Arnold retreats to his own line, backhands cross ice, back and over his own line, over to the far circle for Panzarella. He'll send it away up the middle out the center ice. Panzarella after it, hitting the line, rolling it down the far boards into the quarter in the Komet zone. Weber winds it around, held in at the near point by the pivoting Arnold. He hands out to go to Branson, and shot deflected wide. Weber in the far quarter, backhands to the half boards. Broken up by Nolan Laporte for the Mallards, another rookie. He rolled it in behind the goal into traffic and went after it himself. He backhands free to Goodbranson near half boards. A shot clubbed by Nagle, holding on. Down in the butterfly, that shot by Goodbranson would have gone wide, but Nagle, with the Komets under Mallard forward checking pressure, did not want to take any chances. 11:18 left in the opening period. The Mallards and the Komets are scoreless. A quick pace to play in the early going on opening night. 4 shots apiece so far. The face-off will be in the nearest circle in the Komet zone. Patin back on to take it for the Mallards. Last season, he was Western Collegiate Hockey Association Player of the Year. Cazzola goes against him. Cazzola won the draw back to Sol near quarter. He slaps it up the boards right inside the line to Schaafsma. He sends Cazzola up the middle out to center ice to Binkley in the far wing, crossing the line, skating through the far circle. Centering pass right through the Mallard crease and all the way over to the near half boards. Batin hustles up the wing out through center. 3-on-2. He crosses the Comet line into the near circle drive. Blocker and glove save. Nagle down on the butterfly holding it on. Good speed from Batin leading the charge for the Mallards on the out-of-man rush at the end of the shift. Because it was late in the shift, as Batin heads off now after the whistle. Batin pulled the trigger approaching the near face-off dot. Perhaps with fresher legs, he might have tried to cut it in front. 11:01 left in the first. No score between the Mallards and Komets. Todd on the face-off in the near circle in the Komets zone against Brady Vail. Vail, a Florida native, played in his home state the last 2 seasons for the Orlando Solar Bears. Parks hears about infringing from the near half ball from the referee. Vail wins the face-off back into the near quarter. Park hard in after it in a crowd of players. Parks poked it in behind the goal. Vail's after it, backhanding to the far half boards. Jace Coyle is there, backhanding into the far quarter. Grab for the Mallards by Parks. That angle drive, ricocheted off traffic in front and up the slot. But Thompson flips it out to the center circle. Coyle retreats to his own lot, far side. Backhands up the wing to Nevins and center, tipping up the middle just over the Comet slot. Cleared away up the near side by Leonard, out the center for Thompson, dumping into the Mallard zone diagonally. Karen from the far quarter in behind a Vail, backhands into traffic along the near half boards. Thompson in the 4-player fray, but it's dug free for the Mallards by Parks. He sent that rink wide, not out. From the far circle, Dan Milan poked it in behind him and after the line the outboards. It squirts out of traffic beside the net and Vail gloves it for a face-off as we approach the midway point of the opening period. 10 minutes, 19 seconds left. It's still the Mallards nothing and the Komets nothing, and we'll get a face-off coming up in the Mallard zone. The Mallards are attacking from left to right here in the opening period. The draw is in the far circle. Broussard takes the face-off for the Mallards against Mason Baptista. He wanted it into the high slot, but first done it for the Mallards to take it away up the near side. Janice out through center. He'll cross the line and get checked by Weber near half boards. In the near quarter, Baptista playing it around the wall to the far half boards from whence it's taken ahead by Beaupré up the middle to his own line. With the Komets changing, he'll retreat into the far circle, feed across to Weber on the Komet line near side, across to Schaafsma, crossing the Mallard line into the far circle drive, right pad save Bay. Rebound knocked away by Penzarella into traffic in the far quarter. Gibson goes after it along the half boards. He hands off to Broussard, who failed to clear. From the far point, Binkley shot deflected up over the back glass into the protective netting. With the whistle, 9 minutes 43 seconds left in the opening period of the Mallards season opener. Both teams change before the draw coming up. Mallards play their second home game Wednesday, October 26th against Missouri. That game and all Wednesday home games start at 6:35. The special early face-off. For seats, call 800-745-3000. Go to Ticketmaster.com or the iWireless to the box office. The face-off will be moved just outside the Mallard blue line on the far side, even though Schaafsma, the player assistant coach for the Komets, argues the point with referee Lucas Martin. Finally, we'll get Batin readying himself for the face-off to do battle against Cazzola. Batin wanted falling down, but Cazzola immediately takes it from him, crosses the lot of far side, atop the circle, backhand centering feed, blocked off by Goodbranson. Batin retreats into the far quarter, then brings the puck behind his own net. Batin waits back of the goal and lays it off in behind the cage to Goodbranson. He'll step into the near circle, slide it up the wall to Batin, approaching the Mallard line, across the warning through center, gaining the offensive zone, skating through the far circle, centering pass, Kovacs scores! Justin Kovacs gives the Mallards a 1-0 lead, finishing off the great rush, burying the centering pass with a one-timer from the slot as he was set up by Sam Warding. Batin will get the second assist along with the primary assist for Warding, an even strength goal for Kovacs at 10 minutes 41 seconds of the first period. The Mallards in front. Batin a point in his Mallard debut. Kovacs a goal in his Mallard debut. Along the far half boards in the Mallard zone. Thomas clears up the wall at the center. Coyle retreats in over his own line across the Harris near half boards. He sends it on to Coyle, skating up the far side to the Mallard line. He'll bank it up the wing and over the Komets line to Arnold, skating through the far circle. He's ridden down all the way to the end boards by Dan Milan. Hacked away from back of the goal by Leonard up the near side, held in for a moment at the near point by Coyle, who rolled it rink wide, but Thomas is there, sending up the far side through center. Coyle retreats in over his own line, cross ice to the near circle, beat up the middle out through center ice. Arnold crossing the line in traffic, wheeling atop the near circle. He was poke checked by Milan, a crowd battling in the near quarter in the Komet zone. Leonard slings it to the near half boards. Thompson brings it up the wing to the red line. He'll flip the puck into the offensive zone diagonally. Kevin Gibson after in the far corner. He gets some help from Grant Arnold. He'll skate up the far side to the Mallard line. Get broken up just out in center ice by David Friedman. Still free in traffic, bouncing along the far wall in center ice. Finally for the Komets, Tate swoops into the middle, hitting the Mallard line, steering beside the goal. They steer to the far half boards. Friedman sent into traffic on the slot, but it's cleared away by Brassard up the near side through center and over the Komets line. Weber near half boards, backhands cross ice to Beaupré. He'll clear to the center circle. Panzarella lays back in over his own line to Goodbranson in the slot. Pounce up the far wing to Brassard in center. He feeds it up the wall to Laporte, hitting the Komet line, winding the puck in around the boards. Weber takes a big check on the near quarter from Brassard. They keep on battling for it. Brassard controls. Brassard skates behind the Komet net. Thanks the puck back to Manfredo. Far point is one-timer deflected over the crossbar. Loose to the near quarter in the Komet zone. Goodbranson in there. He'll steer along the outboards. Weber in the far quarter. He slapped it up the wall, but not out. Attack kept in for a moment. Weber on one knee on the far half ball. Clears up the boards out to the Mallards line. Grab for the Mallards. Taken into the center circle by Venice. He moved it to the near side for Kovacs, crossing the line, walking right in. He tried to feed into the slot, but it was broken up in the nick of time by Binkley, who clears it up the near side to Szydlowski in center, dumping in diagonally. Schaafsma far quarter, Mallards out, rolled it into traffic back of the goal. Manfredo emerges to the far goal line, skips the puck up the far side, but not out. At the point, it's Binkley. Binkley feeds down low to the far goal line for Cazzola, centering pass deflected across the goal mouth. Schaafsma near half-boards, plays around to the far corner for Cazzola's centering pass was tipped away by Patin up the near side through center and over the Komet line. Nagle way out with the four-checker closing, clears up the near boards to center. Schaafsma feeds it into the center circle to Szydlowski, wheeling to the far side, crossing the line. He drove it, the blocker save Vail. Vail near half-board, Szydlowski near quarter to Vail in the near circle. He'll feed it across to the far circle, a shot by Cazzola was blocked. It's taken out of the slot by Parks for the Mallards, up the near wing out through center, racing over the line through the near circle, centering pass across the crease and all the way over to the far half-board. Nevin steers it into the quarter. Soul battles to the far half ball. He gets some help from Leonard, who backhands cross ice to Thompson and center feet up the near wing to Vail, crossing the line. He drops to Thompson, a shot just wide glove side. Nevin's out high along the far boards, backhands up the wing to Todd in center. He'll leave the puck to Parks, who ran into traffic, free right outside the Komet line far side. Nevins forces it just in. Thomas from the far circle carries rink wide out to center. He'll chip the puck down the near boards in behind the Mallards net. Thomas after it against two Mallards. Steered away by Gibson for the Mallards into another crowd of players along the near half boards. Thompson in the middle of that fray for the Komets gets it back to Weber at the near point. Cross-ice pass off Beaupré's stick at the far point. He'll recover. Backhand into the far quarter. Gibson taps to the half boards. He'll catch up and clear it away. Cross-ice through center to the Komets line. Weber right inside line on the near side, harried by Brassard. Weber retreats toward the slot. He slides it over to Beaupré far half-boards. Cross-ice pass off Baptista in center on the near side. Panzarella checked on his own line as he drew a pair of checkers. He rolled it into his own slot, and Goodbranson retreated to the far goal line before winding it around, but not on Weber from the near point of drive. A rising shot blocked right in front by Panzarella from the slot. He backhands up the near boards to center. Weber lays back to the middle of his own line for Cazzola. He'll drop it and turn to Beaupré far half-boards. Beaupré gets checked along the wall by the Mallards. Pavel Janice, but it's taken away by Cazzola up the middle to center. He'll shoot in around the boards right to left. Goodbranson near quarter, Mallards out. Backhands align the back wall to Manfredo far quarter. He sends it into his own slot for Patin. Tips up the far side to center for the Komets. Soul drove it off the far wall down beside the Mallard net. Goodbranson's back to retrieve on the near goal line. Taking him behind, hand out to Patin. He'll swoop it to the far circle, snap it a rink wide to Kovacs in center. He backhands up the near side in over the Komets line. Binkley plays it up the wall, back out to center ice. Szydlowski sidesteps a check, crosses line through the near circle, he scores. Sean Szydlowski ties it. He makes it 1-1 at 15:38 of the first period. He put a great move out of Mike Manfredo as Szydlowski crossed the Mallard blue line. He walked right around Manfredo, and all of a sudden he had all kinds of daylight skating in through the near circle. He picked the top corner on the glove side alongside. rifling the shot home off the inside of the goalpost. You couldn't fire it any more perfectly than that. Szydlowski just stepping over the face-off dot when he ripped it home and alongside. Szydlowski ties the score with the even strength goal. Top goal scorer last season for the Komets, tied with Schaafsma. Right back at it on opening night this year. Todd in the near circle in the Mallards zone, harried into the corner by Thompson. Todd rejoins the fray, backhands him behind his own goal. Coyle brings to the far quarter. He'll backhand up the wall to Todd, who battles up the boards out to center, steers up the far side to the Komet lot. Leonard get a piece of it, just outside the line. Todd along the far wall, shovels down the boards in behind. Vail for the Komets rolls it along to the far half boards. Curtis Leonard will play it back around the wall to the near half boards. Milan sent it up the boards. Thompson on his own line drops to Milan in the Komet slot. Pass up the far wing to Leonard in center. He banks it up the boards to the toppling Thomas just outside the Mallard lot, slapping it down the wall and behind the goal. Penzarella brings to the near circle and moves it up the boards to Laporte in center. He'll dump down the wall and behind the Komet net. Beaupré steps into the near circle. He'll feed up the wing to Friedman in center. He lost the puck to Laporte. He drops to Penzarella, retreating it over his own lot. Rink wide pass, Waterrod to the far boards out high. Knocked him behind the goal for the Komets by Brent Tate. Taken out to the far half boards by Friedman. His pass deflected across to Weber, wheeling above the near circle. Weber glides toward the near half boards. His centering feed was blocked in front of the net by Gibson. Taken over to the near half boards by Penzarella. He clears up the near glass, head over the Komet line. Beaupré near circle, lead up the middle to Friedman in traffic on the Mallard line, tipping it wide of the net. Goodbranson after it in the far quarter. Cross-ice pass through center up Kovacs hitting the Komet line, where Kovacs couldn't quite connect with it, and as a result, the whistle with 2:49, all that remains in the opening period. Mallards and Komets are tied up at 1. Back and forth action throughout the first period so far. Mallards took the lead on the Kovacs goal at 10:41. A shade under. 5 minutes later, Szydlowski tied the score for the Komets. A face-up in the near circle in the Mallard zone. That's the end to our left. Cazzola will take the draw. He wins from Patin back to Sol at the near point. His drive deflected wide to the stick side. Kieran beside the net. Fired off the outside of the goal by Szydlowski. Then from the end boards, he centered, and Schaafsma's shot was deflected wide. Taken away by Warning up the far side to center. He shot in diagonally, but from shy of the red line, so a second straight icing call against the Mallards. Komets moments ago with that top line on. Cazzola in between Szydlowski, along with Schaafsma, pressing for a go-ahead goal here late in the opening period. The face-off will be in the farthest circle in the Mallard zone. Again, it will be Cazzola taking it against Patin. Patin, a Hobie Baker Award finalist last year. Cazzola won it back to Schaafsma, retreating to the far point, handing out to Binkley. A shot deflected in behind to Szydlowski to the far half boards for Schaafsma. Schaafsma feeds Cazzola far circle to Schaafsma, far goal line centering pass, deflected, rink wide out of play by Goodbranson. A good defensive play down low in his own zone to stop action with 2:22 left in the first period. And the Mallards tied up at 1 apiece with the Fort Wayne Komets. Tonight's game is brought to you by the ECHL, celebrating its 29th season of affordable family entertainment. The ECHL is proud to welcome you to tonight's game and would like to thank the following league sponsors. AMI Graphics, official signage provider of the ECHL. BFL Canada Risk and Insurance, sponsor of the 2017 ECHL Hall of Fame event. The Migray Group, your source for game-worn jerseys. CCM Hockey, official on-ice equipment provider of the ECHL. Geico, official auto insurance of the ECHL. Sherwood Hockey, official puck provider of the ECHL. Sports Tape, official sports tape provider of the ECHL. SweatX, official laundry detergent and odor eliminator of the ECHL. Warrior, official performance sportswear provider of the ECHL. And Willis Insurance, the official commercial insurance provider of the ECHL. Catch all the live action by logging on to ECHL.tv and be sure to download the ECHL mobile app for Android and Apple handheld devices. Late going first period, 1-1 at the iWireless Center. First of 12 between the Mallards and Komets this season. Mallards had the edge in the season series last year. They went 5-2 and 7 against the Komets. The draw in the far circle, Todd will take it for the Mallards against Baptista for the Komets. Loose in the circle, Nevins forces it up the far side and brings it free out the center. He's jammed at the red line by Gabriel Beaupré, a crowd of players. Finally, Brent Tate will slide the puck into the center circle for Weber, who shoots it in around the dasher left to right. Gibson far quarter tips up the wall. Beaupré at the point kept in his drive, blocked in front of the net by Gibson. He skates up the middle at the center, 3-on-2. They hurry. On the near wing to Nevins, crossing the line, but the Mallards are offside. And the odd man rush, frustratingly for the Mallards, is brought up short. Nevins, in his third year of professional hockey, spent his first two in the American Hockey League, first for Hamilton and then Rochester. 1 minute 59 seconds left in the first period. Mallards 1, Komets 1. The face-off will be just outside the Comet blue line on the near side. For the drop of the puck, the Komets have Vail on the ice, getting ready to battle against Bressort. Vail went just back in over his own line to Leonard on the near wall. He sends it cross ice to Milan just inside the line, clearing up the forwards into traffic and center. Forced back in over the line by the Mallard Pebble. Janice, he hit high slot traffic. The puck ricocheted to Bressort, middle of the line, throwing it into the near quarter. Bressort after it in traffic. He'll poke it in behind the goal. It bounced off with a stick of Nolan Laporte from the far corner. Milan steered it ahead. It was cut off by the Mallards along the boards. Jace Coyle from the far quarter. It's played it back around by Leonard up the near side out to center. Grabbed out of traffic by Thompson, swooping up the middle across the line. He feeds it into the far circle for Vail with the drive closing right in, but the pad save Vail, holding on with 1:23 left in the opening period. It's Mallards 1, Komets 1 with less than a minute and a half to go in the first period of the season. Coming up during the Edwards Creative first intermission, we'll recap the first period, chat with Mallards coach Terry Ruskowski, and also look at the out-of-town scoreboard. The face-off in the far circle in the Mallard end. Cazzola's back out for it against Patin. Cazzola won to the far half-boards, went after it, but lost it to get Branson, who winds it around. Stoll near half-boards, his shot deflected into traffic in front. Taken safely free by Manfredo, clearing up the far side to center. Warning, battling for it right outside the Comet line and a crowd of players. Broken up by Binkley up the far side to the red line. Manfredo lays it into a crowd in the center circle. Patin steered up the near side just across line. Cut up with the taking off the skate of Stoll and forcing it into the near corner. Patin after it to the near half-boards for the wheeling Kovacs. Off his stick by Szydlowski, tipping up the near side to Cazzola on his own line. To Schaafsma skating up the middle to his center, crossing the Mallard line, wheeling to the far boards out high. He'll backhand all the way around into the near quarter. Goodbranson retrieves the puck. He clears it up the near wing to Kovacs through center with a step over the line, 1-on-2 through the near circle. He's bodied by a check. He wheels to the near goal line and centers. Blocked by Stoll in front. Retrieved in the near circle by Schaafsma. Half a minute left in the period. Schaafsma feeds out to Cazzola in the center circle. He lobs it into the far corner on the Mallard end. Panzarella brings the puck behind the Mallard net. Down to 20 seconds as both teams complete changes. Still Panzarella stopping and sorting back of his own net. The pass up the near side to Todd out the center. He swoops into the center circle. Far side to Perks, crossing the line, battling down the far boards through the quarter. He laid off to Nevins, wheeling into the far circle. To Todd on the doorstep, he pumped it right across the goal mouth. From the near half boards, Baptista lobs it away, all the way down the ice to kill off the rest of the period. After the horn, Jack Nevins, the Mallards' rugged enforcer, if he lives up to his billing this season, says a few things to Taylor Crunk, the Fort Wayne rookie, but those two are separated right after the horn. A goal each way in the first period. Kovacs got the first of the night to give the Mallards the lead, but Szydlowski responded for the Komets, and after 20 minutes of play, it is the Mallards 1 and the Fort Wayne Komets 1. Coming up, it will be the Edwards Creative first intermission. This is Mallards Hockey, presented by Genesis Power Sports Performance.
Humans blink about 18 times a minute, but studies show we blink half that often while using computers, smartphones, video games, and iPads. Staring at these devices for long periods may cause burning or tired eyes, loss of focus, headache, even motion sickness. To help lessen fatigue, reduce glare, blink often, keep reading material below eye level, and schedule regular eye exams. Call 309-788-0604 for an appointment with Doctors Tim Arbett, Chris Lear, Jim Nordquist, and Jill Hayes at Rock Island Optometric Center, 2501 24th Street, Rock Island.
The Mallards 10-game Flex Pack offers affordability and flexibility. Flex Pack vouchers can be redeemed for tickets to any Mallards regular season home games, whether those tickets are for 10 different games, all for the same game, or anything in between, subject to availability. flex packs are available in a variety of price ranges to meet any budget. Call the Mallards at 309-277-1364 for more flex pack information. The locals love Edwards Creative, and you'll love them too. Voted #1 most loved printing service in the Quad Cities. Known for award-winning graphic design, large format printing, luscious beards, and charming personalities, Edwards Creative is your open net goal for banners, trade show displays, and vehicle wraps. Hey, they do this for a living. They're informed, trained, and motivated to show off what it is they do oh so well. So come and visit them in the Thunderdome in Milan to scope out the largest sign and display showroom in the area. They like using their right brain to show that you're using your left. Follow Edwards Creative on Facebook or check them out on the web at edwardsideas.com. Let's get creative.
Hello. Wow, you've got quite an armful of clothes there. Did you find everything all right?
Yep, everything fits perfectly. I can't wait to look awesome.
I bet you will. Your total is $176.17.
Okay, let's put 30 on this card for the quadruple reward points, 90 on this because it's interest-free for 2 more months, and the rest on this card for the Caribbean cruise.
Really? All those cards? You need RIA Federal Credit Union.
Stop shuffling pointless perks. Get it together with RIA Federal Credit Union. The RIA Visa credit card is packed with real benefits, like ridiculously low 8.8% APR. You'll also earn up to 1% cash back and pay absolutely no annual fees. RIA Federal Credit Union. Get it together.
Member NCUA. Open to the entire community. 8.8% is a non-variable annual percentage rate. Subject to change without notice. Requires credit approval. Qualifications, limits, and other requirements apply. See branch for details.
Welcome back to Mallards Hockey, presented by Genesis Power Sports Performance. The Mallards and the Fort Wayne Komets, and the Mallards' 20th season opener, are even at a goal apiece after the end of one period of play here at the iWireless Center. Mallards hoping to get a milestone campaign started in style. They grabbed the lead but couldn't hold it through the end of the period, with the first goal of the night coming from Kovacs before Szydlowski responded for Fort Wayne. Mallards coach Terry Ruskowski is beginning his 5th season as the team's coach. We had a chance to chat with Terry earlier on, and we'll bring you that interview now.
Terry, the Mallards' 20th season opens tonight against the Fort Wayne Komets. And for the Mallards, there are a lot of new faces, and even among that group, some very new ones. You look at just the last couple of days, a goaltender arriving in Adam Bay, much touted forward out of the college ranks, and Alex Patan. When you look around at all these new faces in the locker room, and in particular, that injection in the last couple of days, what do you expect to get from this new group?
Well, that's a good question, Brian. We then 3 days before that, we had 5 guys come down from Iowa through their camp, and the thing I'm a little bit concerned, a little bit nervous about is that do they understand the system as well as they should coming into the first game? Guys coming in so late, it's going to be, they have to be really intelligent and catch on quick, because we didn't have much time to go through all of those systems that we had. We touched on every one as much as we could, make sure they had a basic idea, but now it's them to go ahead and execute that in the game.
And well, that brings up one of the contrasts between these two teams coming in. Mallards getting some fresh bodies in the middle of camp, and also having gone without an exhibition game. You look at Fort Wayne, they played 3 exhibition games, and a little more game action to their credit, though nothing quite like the regular season. How do you think that might show up in what we see tonight, or will it?
Well, we'll find out in a couple hours here, but there's no question, Brian. And when you have a couple games under your belt, you've gone through, the battle drills in the games, the conditioning of the games. You understand the systems more. You can go back to the video and of the games, and you can correct what went wrong. A lot of times you can see the visual better than just telling them, and you see themselves working and being out of position or being in good position. It really helps them to think about it and know exactly how to play the next time. So the advantage, Fort Wayne, there's no question about that. The 2 games they had, it's going to be a huge advantage, and we'll just hope our guys are ready to play, and we'll go short shifts tonight, and hopefully we can get momentum and do what we have to do to win a hockey game.
And of course, sometimes goaltending can be an equalizer, and we mentioned Adam Bay, and he gets the start for you right out of the gate here. interesting background, played a little junior in the U.S., in Texas, in fact, but originally from Hungary where he played last year. What kind of read do you have on him?
Well, actually, last year he played with two of the guys I coached from Hungary, and actually one was here, Nagle. Nagle was here, and he played with them last year. So they went down, Minnesota went down and watched them play in a tournament down there at the end of the season, and they really was impressed with his size, his ability, his quickness. They signed him to a contract. They brought him in this fall, and apparently did a really good job. I didn't see him a whole lot, but apparently did a really good job, and they're really high on him. So they want to send him down here to get some time in, and Fred Shabbat is down here teaching him, a little bit about what he should be doing and preparing himself for the game, and little bit of things that maybe he's doing wrong to correct them and get him ready for the games and to win as many games as he can to go up to the higher league. And that's what we're supposed to be doing down here, is promoting these guys and getting ready to go up higher.
And Frederick Shabbat, of course, the developmental goaltending coach for the Wild organization, and another player we mentioned a moment ago, and Alex Patan, a rookie, fresh out of Michigan Tech, though we did see some action with Iowa at the end of last year, that steps in and now has a letter on his sweater, one of the Mallards' alternate captains this year.
I talked to him many times this summer, and he was just a classy young man, good speed, handles the puck well. It was a difficult decision. There was 2 or 3 guys, actually 3 or 4 guys that were really considering for that A, but we wanted a guy that would stand up and say something that guys would respect. And there's a lot of guys in there that have that respect, but he was the type of guy that works hard all the time, and he's diligent in his job, works hard in practice, and the type of guy that a lot of guys look up to. And I thought that he'd be a pretty good assistant captain to promote what we have to do and to make sure the guys are walking a straight line when we have to.
And for all the youth on the team, 9 rookies on the roster, there seem to be several players who have a similar sort of profile when you talk of having had leadership roles in the past. You look at Grant Arnold, 2-year captain at the University of Denver. Is that encouraging for you, despite the youth around the dressing room, to see some of that as well?
He was one of the guys we were considering putting A on. There's no question about that. You watch the guys, how they carry themselves and how they present themselves and their work ethic and little things like that to see if they're leaders. And he's definitely one of those kids down the road that he's definitely a type of kid that when he gets more ice time, that he's going to be a definitely candidate for not just assistant captain, but a captain, because he's got those qualifications. I like him. I like his work ethic. I like his leadership, and I like how he presents himself to me and to the rest of the team and the media.
And when we do talk about those leadership roles, there certainly is at least one player with plenty of experience in Chris Francis, who you have made your captain, but unfortunately not here for this weekend.
No, it's going to hurt us. There's no question. He's a very talented guy. He had a really good camp in Iowa. I watched him quite often. A good playmaker, can score goals, speed, strong on the puck. Unfortunately, there was a death in the family, and he had to go back and deal with that. But he'll be coming back. And I made him a captain because he says the right things, and I think his heart is in the right place. He's a veteran guy that he's been through the good times and bad times and experienced that with the guys, and maybe share some stories, but also keep the guys in line, like I said before, make them walk a straight line and make sure they're doing things right, not just one time, but all the time. And I think he's the type of guy to step in there and say that.
And tonight's game, not only the first of the season, but the first of 12 between the Mallards and Fort Wayne Komets this year, and we see Terry shaking his head.
Wow, you play. They're one of the best teams in the whole league, and facing them first of all back-to-back games. Wow, that's really tough because they have 2 games. They have a great team. They had a great team last year, and it's pretty much the same, but probably improved it this year. So it's going to be a feat, and we have to play them, and so we might as well go ahead and try to play them as best we can, win a couple games off them if we can. But they're definitely a quality team, quality organization, and it's not going to be an easy task. But what's life without a challenge?
Well, there you go. And finally, 20th season for the Mallards. As we mentioned, you're 5th in charge of the team, and even a little extra because of all that, perhaps going into this one. How do you feel heading into opening night with the milestone looming as well?
Can you see me sweat? Obviously, it's very important. Winning as many games, especially at home, we don't want to let our fans down. I'm just a little bit nervous that if we're not prepared as well as we should, with the guys coming in so late and guys out of town and not being here for practice. But I just hope and pray that the guys can work hard and work together and show the fans what we have. And hopefully that's an exciting game, and hopefully and pray to God that we win and make them go home happy so they can come back and watch us again.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Brian.
That was Mallards coach Terry Wiskowski, his club taking on the Fort Wayne Komets.
And the Mallards and Komets, after 20 entertaining moments of play so far tonight in the first game of the season, are locked up in a 1-1 tie after what we've seen over one period. Certainly anticipation building if we get more up and down action, as we saw in the opening 20 minutes in the second period. It's developing into quite a night of hockey to kick off the Mallards' 20th season. Coming up, we'll take a look back at the second period and look at the out-of-town scoreboard as we roll on with the Edwards Creative first intermission. This is Mallards Hockey presented by Genesis Power Sports Performance.
Let's have a Harris pizza tonight. You're gonna say it's love at first bite. We've got the taste, come in and compare us. No other pizza's made like a Harris. Hand-tossed dough, fresh and light. More for your money in every bite. For over 40 years we've been doing it right. You want a Harris pizza tonight? Let's have a Harris pizza tonight.
Injuries are a part of life like bone-jarring body checks are a part of hockey. When injuries bench the Quad City Mallards, they turn to the area's leaders in sports medicine, ORA Orthopedics. ORA Orthopedics treats the Quad City Mallards, and ORA Orthopedics can treat injuries that get in your way. ORA Orthopedics, trusted physicians for the Mallards and you.
Keith Urban, the hottest show of the year. Keith Urban, Ripcord World Tour. Keith Urban, live on stage. Thursday, October 27th, the iWireless Center. With Brett Eldridge. Brett Eldridge. On sale now at Ticketmaster. Thursday, October 27th, the iWireless Center. Keith Urban with Brett Eldridge and special guest Barrett Morris. Ripcord World Tour, produced by TAM Productions.
Astra Clearance Center offers a large selection of new and used furniture for sale. Save money with Astra because they rented it first. Astra Clearance Center is located at 604 East 4th Street, Davenport, across from the Quad City Times building. Astra Clearance Center is open 1 to 6 p.m. Wednesday and Thursday, Fridays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can call Astra Clearance Center at 563-349-1203. Welcome back to Mallards Hockey, presented by Genesis Power Sports Performance. In the Edwards Creative first intermission, Mallards won, Fort Wayne Komets won after one on opening night. Mallards took a 1-0 lead at 10:41 in the first period. Kovac scored his first for the Mallards, first of the season from Morning and Patin at even strength. Komets replied at 15:38. Szydlowski's first came at even strength. Jason Binkley had the only assist on that goal for the Komets, who had the only power play of the first period. They were unsuccessful, while the Mallards were down a man after a penalty call against Dottie Harris. First period shots on goal favored the Komets by a margin of 8-7. Coming up, we'll bring you second period action as we close out the Edwards Creative first intermission and roll on with Mallards Hockey, presented by Genesis Power Sports Performance.
Genesis Physical Therapy and Wellness is open at 4017 Devil's Glen Road in Bettendorf with a combination of services unique in the Quad Cities. Available at the clinic are physical, occupational, and speech therapy services. Additional services are hypnotherapy, massage therapy, and sleep education. Our goal is not to only treat you when you are injured or sick, but to help you achieve a healthy lifestyle. For more information about this unique Genesis location, call 563-421-2460.
stop by the Mallards Pro Shop at the iWireless Center for everything you and the Mallards fans in your life need. Hats, jerseys, t-shirts, kids apparel, and so much more. The Pro Shop is open not only on game nights, but from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. For all the latest additions to the Mallards Pro Shop, check out facebook.com/Mallards Pro Shop.
It's finally here. The new RIA Federal Credit Union is open on Utica Ridge Road in Bettendorf. RIA is improving customer service by bringing more departments together under one roof. Because when we can work better together, we can work better for you. Come see the new RIA Federal Credit Union at 4343 Utica Ridge Road in Bettendorf. RIA Federal Credit Union, a lifetime of community investment and open to the entire community.
Are you looking for marketing, design, and print that will take your company to the next level? Whether you need business cards, brochures, a new website, or large format printing,
spend an evening with...
Welcome back to Mallards Hockey, presented by Genesis Power Sports Performance. And the tail end of the Edwards Creative first intermission. The Mallards and Fort Wayne Komets tied at 1 as we head toward second period of play on opening night. Elsewhere in the ECHL this evening, some scores to keep you apprised of as we turn to the out-of-town scoreboard for the first time. In the third period, Adirondack leads at Manchester 3-2. The Florida Everblades out of home ice trailing the Greenville Swamp Rabbits 2-0 in the second period. In the second period in Norfolk, the Kalamazoo Wings have a 1-0 lead over the Admirals. The Indy Fuel at home have a 3-1 lead in the second period over the Cincinnati Cyclones. The Atlanta Gladiators, a second period lead on home ice 2-1 over the Toledo Walleye. Here it's the Mallards and the Komets about to start the second period. We begin the period at 5 skaters aside. There is no carryover penalty time either way. The Mallards in the second period will skate from right to left. The Komets will attack from left to right. Mallards get that impressive Patin line between Warning and Kovacs, the goal-scoring trio on against the line that produced the goal for the Komets in the first period. To start the period, that's Cazzola between Szydlowski and Schaafsma. Cazzola and now Patin ready for the draw. Cazzola went inside the circle to Schaafsma, who steers back in over zone line into the near circle for Binkley across the far half-board for Seoul. He'll flip it softly down the ice, all the way down wide of the Mallard net. Early icing call against the Komets. Just 11 seconds off the clock here in the second period. We mentioned that the Komets played 3 exhibition games. Last Friday, Saturday, and Monday took 2 out of 3, while the Mallards did not play any preseason games. A loss to Indy last Friday, a win over the Fuel last Saturday, a win over Brampton Monday. From the far circle face-off Komet zone, Patin won from Cazzola, but rink wide out the center. On the near side, Szydlowski steers all the way down wide of the Mallard net. Manfredo checked by Schaafsma near a corner. Szydlowski near half-board fired wide. Tearing back to the far point for Seoul. He'll sweep down the wall to Schaafsma behind the net. Backhand centering pass off Cazzola's stick. Binkley at center point keeps it. Drives it down the far side and behind to Schaafsma. Centering pass blocked in front by Manfredo. He clears it away up the near side to center. Binkley feeds Cazzola in center circle traffic. Broken up and over the line by Kovacs. He chips the backhander in front. Patin knocked down as he went for it. He went skidding to the headboards. On the check by Binkley, taken out of traffic near a quarter by Szydlowski, up the wing out the center. He lobs it in beside the Mallard net off Bay's glove to Szydlowski in the near quarter. He'll hand off to Schaafsma. His pass deflected back to Dan Milan near point. He drove it wide to the glove side. Cameron to the far half boards. A crowd of players. Controlled by Szydlowski. Willie above the first circle. Rising drive. Blocker save made by Bay. Curtis Leonard in the crowd along the far half boards. Lost out of traffic into the high slot. Vail's there. He threw it to the net. It's sniped away by Bay as Kyle Thomas arrived but couldn't connect. Walking into the goal mouth, he was impeded on his way by the Mallards Patin at the end of a long shift. And the Komets will get their second power play of the game with the penalty call against Patin for hooking Kyle Thomas right in front. 1 minute and 14 seconds into the second period. The Komets failed to convert the only man advantage either way in the opening period. Now a face-off in the far circle in the Mallard zone. Mason Baptista, who like Thomas, who just drew that penalty, played briefly for the Mallards in the 2014-15 season. will take the draw for Fort Wayne against Grant Arnold, a 2-year captain at the University of Denver. Baptista won the draw. At the far point, Beaupré shot, hit traffic in front, carried him well out of play up over the back glass into the protective netting. Baptista in the slot, finding off a Manfredo check, was able to tip the shot by Beaupré, but sent it way up into the screen. Baptista again on the face-off in the far circle in the Mallard zone, going against Grant Arnold a second time in the early going of the power play. Vail, a forward, will play 1 point for the Komets. Both face-off men go down. Baptista won it back to the far point for Beaupré, across the Vail at the near point. He slides it to the near half board for Baptista. He wheels into the circle. He sends it down low to Thompson. Back to Vail, near point, across to the far point for Beaupré. He chips it down the far boards to Thompson behind the net. He backhands to Beaupré along the far half wall. Beaupré swoops along the board, slides it back to the far point for Beaupré. He'll send it rink wide to the near point. Vail backhands at the traffic along the half board. Thompson walks through the circle. His goal mouth feed cut off in the doorstep by Manfredo down on one knee, and he slaps it up the near side to center. Vail retreats to his own line along the wall, slides it cross ice to Beaupré on the Comet line far side. Rink wide to Thompson, crossing the Mallard line. He drops to Baptista. He skates through the near circle. Poke check by Manfredo. Thompson from the near circle, stick handles into the corner. He'll lay the puck off along the edge boards, but it's broken up by Manfredo in a crowd. It pops up in the air along the glass in the traffic jam. Manfredo sticks with it. He'll steer into the near corner for Arnold. Manfredo digging it, spills loose into the near circle. Staggering to the ice, Baptista steered it back to Vail near point. Closes with a drive blocked by Arnold. Ricochet cross ice to the far point for Beaupré. He fired high and wide. 48 to go, Comet power play. Vail near halfwards on the camera, leaves the puck to Baptista. He'll send it in behind the goal to Vail. Vail swoops out to the far half boards. Vail stops short along the wall. Vail stick handles into the circle. He slides it back to Beaupré at center point. Slap shot, score! A power play goal. Beaupré pulled the trigger. Baptista was in front. The Komets have the lead for the first time. Fort Wayne moves in front 2-1. At 2 minutes 42 seconds of the second period. 32 seconds left on the Mallard penalty against Patin. When the shot by Beaupré straight away at the blue line sailed past the screen of A through all that traffic. But Baptista providing net front presence on that bid. Successful as it proved to be for Fort Wayne. The Komets now 1 for 2 on the power play. Mallards have to regroup, finding themselves on the wrong end of the scoreboard for the first time. Non-stop power play pressure for about a minute and a half from the same quintet for the Komets, while the Mallards couldn't get a PK change. Loose puck far halfwards Mallard zone. Tate pumped it softly on goal. Glove saved to bring the whistle by Vail down on one knee. With exactly 3 minutes got here in the second period. Of course, they were hampered by the Comet power play, but the Mallards without a shot in the early going of the period. 4 already, aided by that advantage for the Komets. A face-off in the far circle in the Mallard zone. Broussard lines upward for the Mallards. He was set to go on the drop of the puck against Friedman. He is tossed out. He's replaced by Tate. 2 games in the playoffs for the Mallards last season for Tate. Broussard won the draw from his old teammate in behind to Gibson. He sends it up the near side to Janice, approaching the Mallard line. He'll snap it across to the far side to the Komets line for Laporte, who lost in traffic. Loose along the far boards, just out in center ice. Friedman skates cross ice to the Mallards line. He'll step in, pulling up above the near circle. His shot deflected by Panzarella, way out of play. Over the back glass into the netting. 16-40 left second period. Komets 2 and the Mallards 1. The face-off will come in the Mallard zone. Adam Bay, making his North American professional debut, played in his native Hungary last year, but for 2 seasons before that, he played junior hockey in West Texas for the El Paso Rhinos. Patin near circle in his own zone on the face-off against Cazzola. It carried out 2 skates into the goal out that was hacked away up the far side toward the line, and finally out the center ice by Jace Coyle, sent across to the near side by Harrison, rolled down the boards in behind the Komets net for the Mallards by Warning. So backhands to the near half boards. Szydlowski plays it back in behind his own goal to Sol. Over to the near goal line for Binkley, who moves it up the boards. Initially not out, but Szydlowski recovered right inside the line. Chipped it up the near boards to the red line. Got there himself. Tip up going to Schaafsma at the line. To Szydlowski near circle. He fired just wide of the Mallard net. Sol at the far point, hustling over to keep in, winding the puck around the dasher. Warning along the near half boards, drops it back into the near corner to Coyle. He'll bank it along the end boards to Dottie Harris from the far corner. He brings the half ball, shovels the backhander up the boards to Petan, battling along the far wall and center. Szydlowski skips it down the far boards, back in behind to the Mallard net. Vail to stop the puck for Jace Coyle. He skates up the near side, out to center ice. He backhands up the wing to Todd, crossing the cover line, skidding through the near circle to the goal line. He lifted the backhander over the cage. Loose along the far half boards and cleared by Vail up the far side out through center. Thompson got there, tipped down the far wall into the Mallard end. Cut up, bringing it back to the goal. He'll shrug off a check from Goodbranson, poke it into the near quarter. Beaupré catches up with speed back to the near point, was deflected out the center. Partial breakaway for Parks over the line, down the slot, in on goal. Poke check by Nagle. Parks in the far quarter. Parks feet into the far circle, bounced off a stick. It's steered away by Thompson up the middle at the Thomason center. Kyle Thomas crosses the line near side into the circle drive. Pad save, Bay, rebound, Thompson, great chance. Big stick save, Bay. Thompson fired the second rebound off the outside of the cage. From back of the goal, Vail brings it out high along the near boards. From the blue line, he flips it rink wide to the top of the far circle. For the Komets, Leonard fanned and then backhanded him behind. Kyle Thomas flips it to the near half boards for Vail. Vail badgered by Goodbranson into the quarter. Vail recovers along the near half boards. Thompson atop the near circle. Milan near point. His shot was blocked in the slot by Todd. Thomas fell down in the far circle. Goodbranson far half boards. Across to Monfredo, clearing off the near wall out through center. And all the way down wide of the Komets net. Back for the puck in behind his own cage. Dan Milan for Fort Wayne. Milan moves the puck over into the near quarter for Leonard. He'll clear it up the boards out into center ice traffic. Tate is there, shrugging off a check from Gibson, dumping down the near wall in back of the Mallard goal. They are flipping it to Janice along the near half boards. The check tips it up the near wing into a crowd in center. Loose along the near boards. Finally, for the Mallards, it's controlled by Broussard hitting the line on the near side. He feeds it cross ice to the far circle for Janice with the shot, but it's gloved for the face-off by Nagle with 14:04 left in the second period, and the Komets leading the Mallards by a score of 2-1. Mallards finally have their first couple of shots here in the second period. For the game, they're being outshot by the Komets by a margin of 14-9. The Komets here in the second period, 6 shots so far to those 2 for the Mallards. A big save moments ago to keep the Komets from a 2-goal lead by Bay, in close on Thompson. Bay moving across the net mouth superbly. Face off far circle in the Komet zone. Cazzola won with second effort from Broussard from the far quarter. Stoll failed to clear. From the far point, Panzarella winds it around into the near quarter. Szydlowski chopping at the puck against Gibson. Broussard out of the near quarter, backhands into traffic in the circle, but it's poked away up the near side by Cazzola, just out over the Mallard line. He rides Gibson toward the half ball. Gibson takes over. He lost and regained off Schaafsma at the middle zone line, stirring up the far wing out the center ice to Broussard. Cross ice to Laporte hitting the line. He knuckled the backhander into the goal mouth. It's covered up with the catching glove by Nagle. Mallards won. Komets, however, have put up a pair of goals to come from behind and grab the lead with 13:35 left to go here in the second period of play. This is Mallards Hockey, presented by Genesis Power Sports Performance.
While entertaining and time-saving, prolonged use of computers and handheld devices may cause eye strain, headaches, blurred or double vision, and a host of other issues. Remember to keep your screen clean. Reduce glare, blink often, use eye drops, and schedule regular eye exams with Rock Island Optometric Center. You may want to consider special computer lenses that help relax your eyes and deliver better vision. Make an appointment today at Rock Island Optometric Center, 2501 24th Street, Rock Island.
Let's have a Harris pizza tonight. You're gonna say it's love at first bite. We've got the taste, come in and compare us. No other pizza's made like a Harris. Hand-tossed dough, fresh and light. More for your money in every bite. For over 40 years we've been doing it right. You want a Harris pizza tonight? Let's have a Harris pizza tonight.
Welcome back to Mallards Hockey, presented by Genesis Power Sports Performance. Mallards trail the Fort Wayne Komets 2-1. 13:35 left, second period. A face-off in the Komet zone, the end to our left. Alex Petan will take the draw for the Mallards. Petan, who assisted on the Mallard goal back in the first period. Kovacs, the scorer of that goal, will now take the draw as Petan has been tossed out for the Mallards. Vail opposes Kovacs on the face-off. Kovacs wants a warning near half boards. He staggers into the corner ridden by Leonard. Warning to the near half, ball back to the near point for Coyle. A drive, glove save Nagle. He did well to snag it for a face-off. With Kovacs moving across the goal now, trying to obstruct his vision. 13:27 left in the second period. Komets 2 and the Mallards 1, and the face-off stays in Komet territory. Perhaps the Mallards building now after a slow start to the period. Patin on the face-off against Vail. Vail won inside the circle to Thomas, who tipped it behind his own net to Milan. He brings it to the far quarter, skips it up the boards out the center ice to Thompson. He backhands rink wide and over the Mallard line. Vail chasing through the near circle. Bay way out on the near goal line. Shoveled it to the near half, where it's Patin knocked out from behind by Thomas. Patin back up in the near circle. Feeds Coyle on the Mallard slot. He'll cruise up the far side toward the line. Feed up the wing to Patin through center. He crosses the Komet line, brings it down the boards all the way into the far quarter. He'll wheel to the half wall. Still Patin retreating to the far point. He slips it to the far half foot for Kovacs, stick handling into the high slot. He sends it into the near circle, and Coyle one time wide. At the far point, Harris held in but lost his stick. Delayed Komet penalty. From the far halfwards, warning, centering pass deflected in behind. Kovacs brings to the near quarter. Extra attacker for the Mallards. The whistle stopping the action. The puck fielded in the near quarter in the Komet zone by Vail. And the Mallards will finally have their first power play of the game at 7 minutes and 20 seconds of the second period. Dottie Harris, keeping the puck in at the far point, had his stick chopped out of his hands by Garrett Thompson, who goes into the box. Thus also the Mallards' first power play of the season. Mallards last year tied for 18th in the league, 68.5% on the man advantage. Komet penalty kill in 2015-16, 85.1%, 9th in the league. At the face-off near circle in the Komet zone, the puck trickles into the quarter. Poked into a crowd along the half boards by Szydlowski. At the near point, Todd dug it free. Across to Modfredo, back across to Goodranson near point. He'll pump it diagonally into the far quarter in the offensive zone for Nevins. Back to the far point for Modfredo. He shovels through traffic. The Parks far halfwards going down. He winds it around to Todd near quarter, back to Goodranson near point. He skates into the high slot. Modfredo far circle, score! Mike Modfredo! A power play goal to tie it at 2. It took the Mallards just 24 seconds to convert their first power play of the season. Great puck movement, and Modfredo gliding to the top of the far circle, blasted the one-timer through traffic. Modfredo's first of the season at 7:45. Goodranson, one big assist on that one with the cross-side speed from the near point. Todd likely the second assist. Komets get the power play goal early in the period. Mallards respond on their first power play of the game. Goodranson in the far circle, and the Mallards on. Cross ice to Modfredo. That pair is still on. Pass up the middle, off the stick. But the Mallards, Arnold in center and over the Komet line to far side. So cleared up the boards just out over the Mallards line. Arnold, far circle, across to Modfredo near a half boards. His pass deflected cross ice off Arnold in the Mallard high slot. Arnold after it again along the far half boards on the drop pass from Bressart. Arnold brings behind his own net to Bressart near quarter. Chips along the back wall to Goodranson far quarter. His pass picked up at the far circle by Cazzola. He fired wide to the stick side. Carry him up the near boards. Held in at the line by Binkley. His drive deflected into the goal mouth. Schaafsma scores. Mere seconds after the Mallards tied it, Schaafsma puts the Komets back in front. The Mallards couldn't quite get the puck clear, and it came back to haunt them. The shot from the near point was deflected through a crowd right into the goal mouth, and there was Schaafsma, the 33-year-old veteran, player assistant coach, to score from point-blank range at the far edge of the crease. Not much Vail could do about that, and the air taking it out of the building, at least momentarily here at the iWireless Center. 39 seconds after the Mallards tied it, Schaafsma's first of the season at even strength puts the Komets on top for the second time, 3-2. Panzarella topped the far circle. Mallards out across to Gibson, chipping it up the near wing to Nevins at the red line, tipping down beside the Komet net. Nagle plays it around to the far halfwards, cut off by Todd. A bad angle drive, deflected around the glass. Gibson, near point, keeps in. He'll wind it around to Todd in the far quarter. Todd leaves the puck on the corner, but Vail grabs it. He skates up the far side toward his own line, backhands up the wing to Thompson in center, to Vail in the middle, crossing the Mallard line. Knifed off his stick for the Mallards by Panzarella. Gibson atop the near circle, broken up by Thomas. He staggers in the near circle. Thomas back up, dropping to Thompson, wheeling atop the circle, he drove it. Juggling glove save Vail, rebound loose in front. Gibson brings it away to the far corner. He's knocked out hard by Thompson. Four players battle for it. Thomas backhands behind the Mallard net. Panzarella brings it free to the near circle to Nevins on the Mallard line along the near wall. He'll clear up the boards just over the Komets line. Milan whips it rink wide just out the center to Thompson, retreating it over his own line far side. Back in to Milan in the Komets slot, pumping it up the near wing to Vail and center, tipping down the near boards and behind the Mallard net. Vail is out to stop the puck for Jace Coyle. 10.5 to go, second period, 3-2 Komets. Coyle waits behind his own goal. Mallards moving right to left. Coyle moves it over to Panzarella near quarter. He'll step in front of the net. Feed Coyle near circle. He flips the backhander up the middle, out the center ice to Panzarella. He slips it up the far board. It's a warning, battling a check across the line through the far circle. He'll swoop it to the quarter. He sends it back to Harris at center point. His drive was blocked in traffic in the slot. Getting in front of that one was Tate for the Komets. And it's lobbed away down the near side all the way back into the Mallard zone by Beaupré. From the near quarter, Coyle brings the puck around his own net toward the far halfwards. He sidesteps one check, but he gets ridden hard by Baptista. Finally taken out of traffic by Parks. A feed up the middle for the breakaway. Over line down on goal by Kovacs. The backhander point blank pad save Nagle. Kovacs trying to tie it for the Mallards for his second time here in the second period on the clean breakaway and score the second goal of his Mallard debut. But he was denied. Arnold made the breakaway pass, lifting the backhand right up the middle to center. He sprang Kovacs. Kovacs denied at the end of a shift that may have played in Pat Nagle's favor, but a huge pad stop, and he held on for the face-off on the far circle in the Fort Wayne zone. 9:51 left in the second, still 3-2 Komets. Broussard on the draw against Cazzola, who won it back to Sol in the far quarter. Sol brings it to the far half boards and lobs it away, cross ice through center in over the Mallard line. Got Branson near half ball, slaps it around the boards. Samad on the far half boards. He'll chip it up the wing, out to the red line. Cazzola's there. He swaps drop passes with Szydlowski. Cazzola center circle, near side to Binkley, crossing the line from the half boards. He drove it. Glove save, Vail holding on. He dropped to one knee to snag it at the near post. 9 minutes, 30 seconds left to go here in the second period. The Komets with a 3-2 lead over the Mallards. Komets moving in front twice so far here in the second period of play. Beaupré at 2:42 pulled the trigger with Baptista in front, and the Komets on the power play, and the shot sailed home. At 7:45, Manfredo and the Mallard power play tied it. But just over half a minute later, Schaafsma put Fort Wayne back in front point blank. Face off in the near circle in the Mallard zone. Broussard won the draw back into the goal mouth from Vail, taken in behind the goal by Panzarella. He rolls it into traffic along the far halfwards. Vail far quarter centering pass off a Komet stick in front. Out of Fort Wayne's Thompson, it rolled into the crease and was gloved by Vail. 9:23 left in the second period. Komets lead the Mallards 3-2. Mallards face the Tulsa Oilers Saturday, October 29th at 7:05. That night also brings a Halloween costume contest and in-arena trick-or-treating for kids at the iWireless Center. For tickets, 800-745-3000, Ticketmaster.com, or stop by the box office at the iWireless Center. Todd facing off far circle in the Mallards out against Vail. Todd won back to Panzarella far quarter. His feet in behind, broken up by Thompson, who put it right in front. But Todd was there, skating into the near circle, backhanding up the glass to center. Loose just outside the Mallard line. Vail steps just in along the boards and pokes it down the wall into the near quarter. Panzarella draws a pair of Komet forward checkers. Thomas digging for the puck. Vail in the near quarter gets hold of it. He lays it off in the quarter for Thompson. His pass broken up in the near circle by the falling Gibson. Thompson battles again against two Mallards in the near quarter. He goes down, gets back up. He lays it off to Thomas beside the net. He pokes it into the slot. It's loose in traffic. Finally corralled by Vail, wheeling into the near circle to Thomas high slot, one-timing wide. They may have gotten a piece with the goal stick. From the far half boards, Leonard sent it around the wall, but it's taken up the near side for the Mallards by Todd out the center. His backhand feed deflected into center circle traffic. Gibson grabs it, weaving up the middle of the Komets line. He feeds the top of the far circle to Nevins with the drive, but it was gloved for the face-off by Nagle. 8:31 left second period. Komets 3, Mallards 2. But now a face-off coming up in the Fort Wayne zone. Mallards hoping to get off to the winning start on home ice. Haven't won a home opener, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, since 2005. Since then, 0-7-1. In their first game of successive seasons over 8 years at the iWireless Center. Mallards' last home opening win October 21st of 05 when they beat the Motor City Mechanics 4-3 in a shootout in the UHL. Battelle won the far circle faceoff offensive zone, rink wide out the center ice from Baptista. Tate steers down the near wall into the Mallard zone. Harris in the near quarter hands the puck off along the boards to the half-wall for Warning, who sends it up the middle to Battelle out the center, wheeling to the red line far side, dumping down the boards in behind the Komet net. Nagle out, sliding it along to the far half boards. for Will Weber, who flips up the middle through center and over the Mallard line. Coyle from the high slot skates to the far wall, clears up the boards into traffic and center. Kovac sends it free, cross ice to Petan, crossing the Comet line. Swooping through the near circle, backhander, stick save Nagle. Rebound to the far half boards. Kovac's after it, but he couldn't control it. It's taken away up the far side by Friedman out the center. He flips from quad and over the Mallard line. Manfredo retreats from the near half boards in behind. He slides the puck to Warning in the near quarter. Warning moves it up the near wing. Off a Taz stick on the Mallard line, up the near glass to the red line. Binkley hands it out to Schaafsma, steering up the middle to Cazzola, crossing the line. He'll wheel into the near circle and pull up. Cazzola atop the near circle, threw it into traffic beside the goal. Schaafsma hands out to Szydlowski near goal line drive. Shoulder save base. Szydlowski near half boards. Backhands cross size, but off Saul's stick just out the center from the far point. Saul shoveled just back in over the Mallard line to Goodbranson in the far circle. He'll sweep it right up the wing out into traffic and center for Broussard. He flips the backhander through a crowd to the Komets line along the far wall for Janice, who steers it into a crowd in the far quarter. Broussard hacked it free into a crowd in the far circle, but it's taken away by Schaafsma. Up the far wing out the center, approaching the Mallard line. He tried to dump in, fired it off a skate, and the Komets are in offside. 7 minutes, 1 second left in the second period. The Komets are leading the Mallards by a score of 3-2. And we'll have the face-off coming up just outside the Mallard blue line on the far side. That is the Mallard right wing side as they attack from right to left in the second period. Broussard will take the drop of the Mallards and win it from Vail on his own line along the far boards to Panzarella, who retreats into the far circle, and then the Mallard slot to Gibson near half boards. He shovels it away from a checker up the boards out the center. Vail digs for the puck against a trio of Mallards. Finally, it'll be Thomas tapping it along the near wall just over the Mallard blue line. From the half boards, Panzarella brings it behind the net to Gibson near quarter. To Panzarella waiting back in the Mallard cage. Broussard in for it. Panzarella keeps it. He'll skate into the Mallard slot. A feed up the middle, didn't connect, and center hit traffic on the Comet line. Broussard grabbed it to Janice through the far circle. Went on me right on. The stick save made by Nagle. Rebound out high along the near boards. Grabbed by Thomas. 2-on-1 up the near side through center. With Thompson, he centers to Thompson. Backhander wide at close range. Thompson behind the goal, beside the net to Thomas. Centering pass hit traffic in the slot. Brought away to the far half boards out of that crowd for the Mallards by Dottie Harris. He'll roll it into a crowd just outside the Mallard line on the far side. Carry him back to him atop the far circle. Mallard's out. Cross ice to Coyle approaching the Mallard line on the near side. Feed up the wall to Janice in center. He slips it up the boards to Broussard crossing the Comet line, battling down the wall from the near half boards into the quarter. Broussard again on the half boards, but a centering pass picked up by Baptista. He skates up the middle out the center, 3-on-2 to Thomas crossing the line near side. Broken up along the boards by Coyle. Popped in the air into the near circle. Controlled in the Mallard slot by Harris. He steps to the far circle, shoots down the boards length of the ice. An icing called against the Mallards, who trail the Komets by a score of 3-2 with 5:43 left here in the second period. The Komets' shots on goal advantage over the Mallards now stands at 19-12 for the game. Here in the second period, 11 shots for Fort Wayne to just 5 for the Mallards. A face-off in the far circle in Mallard territory. Broussard will take the draw for the Mallards. Cazzola opposes him for the Komets. Cazzola played Canadian University hockey up until turning pro this season for Acadia University. Now he's tossed out of the faceoff, replaced by Schaafsma. Broussard remains for the Mallards. Broussard won the draw, back to the far quarter for Coyle. Coyle will lob the puck away, up the middle of the ice, all the way back in on the Comet goal mouth, where it's covered up by Nagle. Down on his knees, he gloves the puck to bring the whistle with 5:35 left in the second period. The Komets still lead the Mallards 3-2. This is Mallards hockey, presented by Genesis Power Sports Performance on opening night at the iWireless Center.
While entertaining and time-saving, prolonged use of computers and handheld devices may cause eye strain, headaches, blurred or double vision, and a host of other issues. Remember to keep your screen clean. Reduce glare, blink often, use eye drops, and schedule regular eye exams with Rock Island Optometric Center. You may want to consider special computer lenses that help relax your eyes and deliver better vision. Make an appointment today at Rock Island Optometric Center, 2501 24th Street, Rock Island.
Let's have a Harris pizza tonight. You're gonna say it's love at first bite. We've got the taste, come in and compare us. No other pizza's made like a Harris. Hand-tossed dough, fresh and light. More for your money in every bite. For over 40 years we've been doing it right. You want a Harris pizza tonight? Let's have a Harris pizza tonight.
5:35 left second period. Mallards trail the Komets 3-2. The teams combining for 3 goals in the second, 2 of them for the Komets. The first, the power play goal, has been credited to Beaupré. Manfredo on the power play for the Mallards. Schaafsma, the goal that stands up as the difference at this instant, putting the Komets back in front at even strength. A shuffling of the deck before the face-off far circle in the Komets zone. Parks will take it for the Mallards against Cazzola after Todd was cast out. Parks played college hockey at North Dakota. He wanted inside the circle, but Schaafsma was there, hacking it cross ice to Szydlowski, skating out to the red line, shooting into the Mallard zone diagonally from the far quarter. Karen to Manfredo, far halfwards, hand out to Todd. He'll feed it away, cross ice out the center. Nevins broken up on the red line by Binkley. He hacks up the middle to the Mallard line, knocked away by Manfredo up the far side to the Komet line. Soul got a piece. Nevins is after it. Crowdle on the far boards and center ice. Finally, Schaafsma rolls up the middle and over the Mallards line. In the slot, good Branson over skated. Szydlowski swoops into the far circle. He centers to Binkley, misfired. Right pad save made by Vail. Binkley near circle, a shot deflected. Score! Binkley gives the Komets a 4-2 lead. Binkley had a fine chance initially from the slot. He was fed out of the far circle by Szydlowski and misfired. The puck rolled in on goal. Bay made that stop anyway. It was Binkley, the defenseman, who grabbed the rebound. Another soft shot from the near circle, but a change direction, going through a maze of skates on the doorstep and slipped under the pads of Bay. The Komets with a 2-goal lead for the first time. Binkley sweeping it goalward from the near circle of the Mallards out at 14-58. Big turnover by Goodbranson in his own zone, chasing the loose puck in the slot. He was stripped by Szydlowski, who picks up the assist. Szydlowski's second point. He scored in the first period. Warning out high on the near wall in the Mallard zone. Clears up the boards just enough the Komets line. Milan swaps cross-ice passes with the fence partner Leonard, who from the far side in his own line rolls it out to Vail in the center circle, dumping down and behind the Mallard net on the far boards, and the Mallard flipped the far post and toppled hard of the ad boards to bring the cage free. Kevin Gibson, we can report Gibson after the whistle, quickly back up onto his feet. Gibson has been one of the Mallards, has taken a few heavy hits from the Komets over the course of the night. Here is self-inflicted damage, though it would appear not too much of it. 4 minutes, 37 seconds left in the second period. 4-2, the Komets are on top of the Mallards. Binkley pulling the trigger as the Komets get goal number 4. He spent most of last season with Utah, was briefly with Cincinnati. Now in his first season with the Komets, with a 4 Ferris State products on the Komet roster. Vail facing off in the far circle in the Mallard zone against Patin. Vail won it back to the far point. It's driven right on goal by Leonard. The high glove save made by Bay. Dropping to his knees, but he snagged it mask high or perhaps higher. The shot might have sailed too high, but Vail wasn't taking any chances. Vail has made 17 saves in his Mallard debut so far. Vail on the face-off in the far circle in the Mallard end against Patin again. Vail won the draw back toward the far point, but Kovacs first at it, tipping up the middle of the warning and center forward. Satterfield broken up by Thomas. 3-on-2 across the line. Into the far circle, he drove it. Kicked up by Vail. Rebound knocked out of the slot into the near corner by Harris. Taken to the half-boards by Thompson. Ridden back toward the point by Harris. Loose atop the near circle. Patin sent up the middle, regained in traffic on his own line. Cleared up the far side to the red line. Leonard lays back in over his own line. To Milan in the high slot, banking up the near boards out to Thomas in the center circle. Far side feed to Thompson, crossing the line, swooping through the far circle toward the slot. It was swept off his stick over to the near half-boards by Patin. Warning in the near quarter, watched by Thompson. Warning lays the puck in behind the net to Coyle, who brings it into the far quarter, and he'll just drive it down the board's length of the ice. He brings an icing call against the Mallards. 3 minutes, 52 seconds left here in the second period. The Komets, with their largest lead of the night, they're on top 4-2 over the Mallards. Mallards face the Cincinnati Cyclones Sunday, November 6th at 4:05 p.m. Following that game, you can join the Mallards on the ice for a post-game skate. For tickets, 800-745-3000. Go to Ticketmaster.com or the iWire list to the box office. Face-off far circle, Mallard zone. Friedman digging on the draw against Patin, taken loose out of traffic by Coyle out the center, moving up the middle. Near side feet to Janice, crossing a lot. He pulls up in traffic along the half-boards, pokes toward the quarter. But for the Komets thereafter, it was Beaupré, lost off a teammate's skate to the edge of the crease, but it's covered up alertly by Nagle. Down on his knees at the near post to freeze play with the catching glove. 3:38 left second period. Komets 4, Mallards 2. Plenty of energy through much of the first period for the Mallards, but perhaps here as the second has worn along, we're seeing the difference between a club that had 3 exhibition games under its belt, the Komets, getting that game shape together before tonight, whereas this is the first for the Mallards after not playing a preseason game. Near circle face-off in the Comet zone. Broussard getting ready for the draw against Cazzola, who has been tossed out of the face-off. He's replaced by Szydlowski. Szydlowski, 75 points last season, 74 the year before for the Komets, wins the draw back to Seoul near a quarter. He'll wind it around the boards up the far side, out through center to Schaafsma, crossing the Mallard line, gliding down the far boards into the quarter, poke check by Beaupré, sending it along the end boards. Broussard backhands up the near side to Janice, out the center. He stick handles into the center circle. He'll feed it on the far wing. Teleport across the line. He threw it in front on the doorstep. Broussard couldn't connect with the bouncing puck. Nagle got a piece. Taken out of the near circle, up the middle out the center by Schaafsma. Near side to Szydlowski, crossing the line. He drops a Friedman near circle. He fired over the crossbar. Big Karam up the far boards, back out through center. Milan retreats in over his own line to the far half boards. He'll quickly clear it, cross ice to the Mallard line. About Fredo on the near side. He sent it up the middle to Parks, retreating from center and over his own line on the near side. He'll cut rink wide back out to center. He tumbles in the center circle and slides in over the Comet blue line in the middle of the rink, steering over to the near boards at the line. Tate's there, sending up the near side through center to Friedman, crossing the line from the near circle, backhanded into the slot. Broken up in traffic for the Mallards by Nevins, who sends away up the middle to Todd in center. Far side, Pete taken in over the line for the Mallards by Parks from the circle he drove it. But the glove saved down on one knee by Nagle, hanging on. 2 minutes, 36 seconds left to go, second period. Komets with a 4-2 lead over the Mallards. Coming up during the one-step printing second intermission. We'll recap the second period. We'll also look again at the out-of-town scoreboard. That and more coming up after the end of the second. Todd will take the face-off in the far circle in the Comet zone. Mallards moving right to left, so this is the Mallard right wing side. Vail on the draw for the Komets. Vail won it back to Milan far quarter. He flips it up the glass. Off the Mallard point man. Coyle out to the center circle for Thomas. To Thompson crossing the line far circle. He fires and scores! Thompson gives the Komets a 5-2 lead at 17:33 of the second. The Komets with a third unanswered goal here in the second to open up some daylight on the Mallards late in the period. Here a bad hop in center cost the Mallards, and all of a sudden the Komets had a 3-on-1. Skating in through the near or far left wing circle. Garrett Thompson rifled the wrist shot in past Van, the glove side, the long side up high. Thompson with his first goal of the season. And the Komets now rolling against the Mallards. Kyle Thomas likely an assist on the even strength goal. A Mallard icing as we get back to action. With just outside his own line, Harris in the middle of the rink for the Mallards, sending it down the far side all the way. The face-off will be in the Mallard zone. My goodness, momentum-wise, that could be a huge goal for the Komets this late in the period. All of a sudden, have a 3-goal cushion. Coyle digs in traffic far quarter, Mallards out. Broken up by Cazzola, handing off to Schaafsma in the quarter. He backhands into the far circle into traffic. Steered into his own slot by Coyle. Beaupré skates up the near wing out through center, across the line. But the Mallards offside as Patin cut toward the slot. He's visibly frustrated after hearing the whistle. Understandable. His team off to a quick start back in the first period, but not able to maintain the momentum through the second. A 5-2 lead for the Komets with 2:02 left in the period. The face-off will be just outside the Comet line on the near side. Patin stays on to take the draw. Mason Baptista will get ready to pry for the puck, but we have a false start warning. Moving too early from his spot along the near wall right outside the Comet line. Now the puck down. Baptista wanted back in over his own line to Weber in the high slot. To Beaupré above the near circle. Backhands up, not out. Warning at near point. The center point for Kovacs. Over to the near half boards for the staggering Coyle, who swept it into the near circle. Patin's centering pass blocked before it made it to the slot by Weber. He rides Patin down out high on the near boards. That's carried up the near wing by Tate out the center. Crosses past to Friedman, hitting the Mallard line, backhanding into the slot. But there for the Mallards, Harris. He'll gun it all the way down wide of the Komets side. Karam from the end boards beside the cage. Out to play it, Nagle, sending up the far side to center. Manfredo slips it toward the center circle for Kovacs. He weaves up the middle just over the Comet slot. He lasts out in the high slot to Beaupré. He moves to the far half boards as we get the whistle from whence the puck was cleared down by Weber, but on its way down the ice, it jumped onto the dasher in front of the Mallard bench on the far side and center. Only 1 minute, 20 seconds left in a disappointing second period for the Mallards, who trail the Fort Wayne Komets 5-2. Komets 3 straight goals after the game was tied at 2 apiece by Manfredo on the power play. Goals 4 and 5 for the Komets, coming just 2 minutes, 35 seconds apart from Binkley and Thompson. Off the face-off far circle in the Komet zone, Cazzola brings back into the far quarter, backhands around toward the near half boards. A crowd of players pry at the puck for the Mallards. Janice last out in the traffic jam, and it's flipped away up the near side out to Rice by Kyle Thomas as we get the fight between Thomas, swinging away with the Mallards, Nolan Laporte along the near boards and center. Laporte landed a roundhouse blow, and down went Kyle Thomas. Laporte, the rookie out of Western Michigan, into the fisticuffs with just 66 seconds left in the second period, trying to fire up his teammates. Mallards having lost all semblance of momentum in the face of 3 straight Komet goals, but now something for the fans here at the iWireless Center on opening night to cheer about. Matching fighting majors, no doubt coming up against both Nolan Laporte and Kyle Thomas at 18 minutes and 54 seconds of the second period. So Laporte makes an impact in his first game as a Mallard. The rookie actually skated in National Hockey League training camp for the Washington Capitals before signing with the Mallards after being released from a tryout by the Caps earlier this month. The face-off will be in the Mallard zone. There is no impact in manpower on ice resulting from that fight. Still 5 skaters aside. Cazzola is on the face-off for the Komets. He won from Brassard, but Janice above the circle forced it up the near side, held in at the point by Binkley, winding it around the boards to Cazzola far quarter. Cazzola sweeps it along the outer boards to the near quarter. After it for the Mallards, Brassard. He lays it back in behind him. Manfredo will bring it to the far half boards, bank it up the wall to center. So for the Komets, flips it back into the Mallard end diagonally. Carom from the near quarter to Panzarella along the half boards, knocked down by Szydlowski. Loose along the wall. Janice sends up the middle, but not out. At center point, Schaafsma kept in to Szydlowski near half boards across the sole far point. His shot deflected wide. From the ad board, Szydlowski brings it to the far quarter. Check that Schaafsma skating along the back wall, back over to the near quarter. Centering pass blocked in the slot for the Mallards by Janice. They'll bank it off the near board softly down the length of the ice. Too softly for icing. So brings it out of the near quarter along the ad boards in the Komets zone at 15 seconds. From the far quarter, he skips it diagonally up the ice. It'll carry length of the rink. Icing called against the Komets. With only 8.9 seconds left in the second period, Fort Wayne leads the Mallards by a score of 5-2, but the Mallards will have a face-off in the offensive zone late in the period. The draw will be over in the far circle. Mallards have Todd on to take the draw, but before the puck goes down, we had referee Lucas Martin signaling one team wanted a timeout, then all of a sudden saying, oh no, that's a mistake. We will get the face-off right now. It's Baptista who's on the draw for the Komets. The puck is a little bit slow in coming down as now Baptista retreats from the face-off dot. He's replaced by Parks. Parks won into the high slot. It's free in traffic. It's cleared by Schaafsma to the center circle. Coyle retreats in over his own lot far side. Pass up the wing on Parks' stick in center, just in over the Komet lot as the horn sounded with Binkley retrieving it. The Komets breaking it open in the second period against the Mallards. They outscored the Mallards 4-1 in the second, and they got 3 straight to build the 3-goal lead. After the end of 2 at the iWireless Center on opening night, the Mallards trail the Fort Wayne Komets 5-2. This is Mallards Hockey presented by Genesis Power Sports Performance, and it's time right now to bring you the One Step Printing second intermission. The Mallards 10-game Flex Pack offers affordability and flexibility. Flex Pack vouchers can be redeemed for tickets to any Mallards regular season home games, whether those tickets are for 10 different games, all for the same game, or anything in between, subject to availability. Flex Packs are available in a variety of price ranges to meet any budget. Call the Mallards at 309-277-1364 for more Flex Pack information.
Hello. Wow, you've got quite an armful of clothes there. Did you find everything all right?
Yep, everything fits perfectly. I can't wait to look awesome.
I bet you. Whoa. Your total is $176.17.
Okay, let's put 30 on this card for the quadruple reward points, 90 on this because it's interest-free for 2 more months, and the rest on this card for the Caribbean cruise.
Really? All those cards? You need RIA Federal Credit Union.
Stop shuffling pointless perks. Get it together with RIA Federal Credit Union. The RIA Visa credit card is packed with real benefits, like ridiculously low 8.8% APR. You'll also earn up to 1% cash back and pay absolutely no annual fees. RIA Federal Credit Union. Get it together.
Member NCUA. Open to the entire community. 8.8% is a non-variable annual percentage rate. Subject to change without notice. Requires credit approval. Qualifications, limits, and other requirements apply. See branch for details.
The locals love Edwards Creative, and you'll love them too. Voted #1 and most loved printing service in the Quad Cities. Known for award-winning graphic design, large format printing, luscious beards, and charming personalities, Edwards Creative is your open net goal for banners, trade show displays, and vehicle wraps. Hey, they do this for a living. They're informed, trained, and motivated to show off what it is they do oh so well. So come and visit them in the Thunderdome in Milan to scope out the largest sign and display showroom in the area. They like using their right brain to show that you're using your left. Follow Edwards Creative on Facebook or check them out on the web at edwardsideas.com. Let's get creative.
Humans blink about 18 times a minute, but studies show we blink half that often while using computers, smartphones, video games, and iPads. Staring at these devices for long periods may cause burning or tired eyes, loss of focus, headache, even motion sickness. To help lessen fatigue, reduce glare, blink often, keep reading material below eye level, and schedule regular eye exams. Call 309-788-0604 for an appointment with Doctors Tim Arbit, Chris Lear, Jim Nordquist, and Jill Hayes at Rock Island Optometric Center, 2501 24th Street, Rock Island.
Welcome back to the iWireless Center. Brian LaBelle rejoining with the one-step printing second intermission. And more Mallards hockey presented by Genesis Power Sports Performance. in on goal for the Bears instant before, not for the first time tonight. Nagle reached out with a lightning-quick poke check to foil him. 7 minutes, 5 seconds left in the third period. Komets lead the Mallards 6-2 on opening night. Well, Mallards creating a series of chances, but unable to grab a third goal so far here in the third period. Face-off far circle, Komets zone. For start one, but rink wide out the center from Vail. Taken in over the Mallards line along the near wall by Panzarella from the half boards. He chipped it up the boards into traffic and center. Thomas on the red line lays back in over his own line. The Saul near circle. Across to the far side for Binkley in the Comet line, dumping it down the wall length of the ice. Good Branson behind the Mallard net, backhands to Gibson along the far half boards. Gibson spins and retreats back in behind to escape Thomas. Now a fight breaking out between Tate and Nevins on the Mallard line. Or check that, Laporte and Tate on the Mallard line. Laporte's second of the game. Laporte really didn't want to get into it seemed. He was just holding off Tate as Tate started swinging away. Well, it will be interesting to see how these penalties shake down. Laporte kept at least his left glove on. He was not a willing combatant here in the end. Well, Tate shed both of his. Laporte, in fact, kept both of his gloves on, and he argues on his way into the box that he should not be assessed a second fighting major. He has been called for a penalty of some stripe, along with Tate, at 13 minutes, 21 seconds of the third period. So more work for Lucas Morton, our referee, to figure out these penalty calls. He talks it over with linesman Brett Hooks. They're stationed in front of the timekeeper's area on this near Saturn center ice. After tonight's home opener, the Mallards play 3 straight on the road. On the new giant video wall here at the iWireless Center, the would-be fight is being replayed, and again we see on that replay Laporte not willing to get into it for a second time tonight, wanting to avoid a second fighting major. Well, Tate was very eager to swing away. Laporte just straight-armed him, tried to keep him off him. But he and the Mallards are very, very likely going to need to regroup, but they're faced with 3 straight road games after tonight. Tomorrow night they visit Fort Wayne. Next weekend, the Mallards make the long trip to Rapid City to meet the Rush Friday and Saturday. Mallards are not in action on home ice again until they take on the Missouri Mavericks. That game's coming up Wednesday, October 26th at 6:35. Special early face-off for all Wednesday home games for the Mallards for a second straight year. For your seats for that contest, call 800-745-3000. Go to Ticketmaster.com or step by the iWireless Center box office. 5 minutes up against Tate for the Komets. Nothing up on the Mallards side of the scoreboard. Fort Wayne penalty box door is open, but Tate remains in the bin. The door ajar as if Tate was going to be sent back, having picked up a misconduct on top of his major. Well, the officials saw the skirmish the same way that Nolan Laporte did, as he is not, it would seem, assessed a major penalty. Though it seems there must have been an extra minor against Tate for the Komets to go with one for Laporte for the Mallards, since they're both in there. And all that's up on the scoreboard is that major against Tate. It could be that the Mallards almost certainly really are facing a 5th power play, and one that would last the full 5 minutes, even if the Mallards were to score a goal or even more than one, because it results from a major penalty. If we don't get succeeding penalties, Komets wouldn't be back to full strength until we had just 1:39 left. So the Mallards up a man again. They failed to convert 3 straight. Face-off in the far circle in the Komets zone. Broussard will take it for the Mallards. He'll go against Schaafsma. They scrap board. Broussard one to the far half boards for Parks, to the far point for Coyle. He leaves to Broussard at the far point, across to Manfredo near point. He stick handles to the half boards. Manfredo slides it down low below the near goal line to Todd, to Manfredo's side of the near circle. He steps into the circle, centering pass, deflected into the goal, but loose in the crease, covered up by the scrambling Nagle, almost slid out of position. And an instant before for the Mallards, unlucky, Nevins couldn't get his stick on it right in front. Plenty of net gaping the goaltender down, but with the stretch, Nagle got his mitt on it. Just 19 seconds into the penalty kill, Gary Graham, Comet coach, gets 4 fresh penalty killers on the ice. Broussard stays on for the face-off in the far circle in the Comet zone. Left wing for the Mallards, attacking left to right. He'll be opposed on the drop of the puck by the Komets' Szydlowski. Szydlowski, another big night in this one so far. 1 goal, 2 assists. Off the draw, trickle to the far corner. It was driven around the boards into traffic along the near half wall by Beaupré. It was controlled by Manfredo, but as the rink wide pass would arrive diagonally back the length of the ice, all the way into the far corner on the Mallards net. Mott away out, handing off the puck. The Coil brings it around the Mallard net and skates up the middle all the way out to center. He wheels to the near side of the red line and cranks the puck in around the boards. Loose along the far half wall, bounced off a skate to Nevins in the far circle. He sent it back to Parks far point. He'll battle to the half boards against Cazzola, send it back to Manfredo far point. Across the Coil near point. Coil slap shot. It was blocked into the near quarter by Cazzola. Nevins hard in after, and he took a hard hit from Weber. Staggered, got back up, got control, sent it back to Coil near point. Across to the far point for Manfredo. He'll slide it to the far half boards for Brassard. Manfredo far point, Brassard out high in the far wall. Across the Coil above the near circle. He chips it down the boards in behind the net to Nevins. Nevins ridden by Weber. Parks steps into traffic. He lost it beside the goal to Beaupré. Failed to clear. Manfredo far point. Brassard far half boards across the Coil near point. Off his stick and out to center along the near wall. 3.5 to go. 5-minute Mallard power play. Just over 5 minutes left in the game. 6-2 Komets. Coil atop the near circle in the Mallard zone. Slides it across to Goodbranson. Retreating all the way in behind the Mallard net as his teammates complete a change. Goodbranson steps into the near circle. He'll feed up the wing, out the center ice to Patin. He's broken up by Thompson on the red line. He shoots down the near boards back in behind the Mallard net. Mott is out to play the puck, laying it off along the edge boards to Gibson, who pokes it over into the near quarter. Goodbranson stepping into the near circle. Feed up the wing to Warding and center, sending up the middle to Patin, crossing the line, a high slot drive, blocked by Milan. He battles Patin in the far quarter, loose along the end boards. Warding scraps for it along the wall. Milan back in the fray, loose back of the goal. Kovacs after it for the Mallards. Poked off his stick by Vail. Kovacs keeps on digging against Curtis Leonard. Finally chapped away by Vail to the near half boards. Goodbranson pinches. He sends it in behind the net to Sam Warning. He's sandwiched by a pair of checkers, Milan, along with Leonard, who backhands along the edge boards to Milan in the far quarter. He'll bank it down the far side length of the ice. 2.5 to go in the 5-minute Mallard power play. So we've just ticked over the halfway point of the major against Tate. We tick down now to 4 minutes left in the game. 6-2 Komets. The town, the near side at the Mallard line, brings it up the wall to center. Hand up to Goodbranson. He hit traffic at the Comet line. Regained it, backhanding down the near wall and behind the net. Nagle out to stop the puck for Binkley, who drives it down the far side length of the ice. Mott stops the puck behind the Mallard goal for Coil. He'll sweep it up the near side out to center ice. To Todd, who hits the red line, dropping to Arnold, skidding through the center circle. He'll hit the Comet line straight away, flip the backhander into the near quarter, go after it along the ad boards, bring it behind the net, roll it out high along the far wall for Panzarella, wheeling and whipped it rink wide, but straight to the Komets' Baptista right inside his own line. He brings it up the near side to center, then trickles the drop pass back in over his own line to Sol near half boards, gunning it diagonally down ice. 1:38 left on the lengthy Mallard power play. From his own slot, Panzarella banks it up the near side to center, straight to the Komets. Weber happy to dump it down the near wall, all the way back in behind the Mallard net. Mott out again to stop it for Panzarella. He steps in front of his own goal and slides it up the near wing to Todd. Todd will drive the puck into the offensive zone around the boards as the Mallards change. 1:15 left on the power play. Back of the goal, Beaupré fired it up the near side. At the point, Panzarella kept in. Arnold above the near circle. He skates into the high slot. He'll lay it over toward the far point. The shot was faked from the far point for the Mallards by Coil, and then taken into the far circle by the falling Arnold, who lost it. Thomas carries up the far side, dumps down wide of the Mallards goal from center ice. Under a minute to go in the 5-minute power play, and Mallards haven't gotten much going on the big man advantage. From the center circle for the Mallards, Coil retreats back in over his own line on the near side. Backpedaling down the slot into his own goal mode. They'll sweep up the near wing to Manfredo, crossing the red line and hoisting it down the boards into the Komets zone. Manfredo, the defenseman, hard and after it in the near quarter. He'll get it out of traffic all the way back to Coil at the near point, faking the shot. He slides it to Manfredo near half boards. He'll relay the puck around the wall. Leonard chasing into the far quarter, battling a pair of Mallards. Evans digs for it. It pops loose on the far goal line. Parks brings it along the outer boards, over to the near quarter, then takes it to the near half wall. Late on the power play, moves it to Nevins near goal line. He'll swoop it in the circle. Nevins stick handling. He backhands off. Parks escape beside the net. Final seconds on the power play. Nevins from the near goal line swoops into the circle with the rising drive. Blocker save. Nagle to end the Mallard 5-minute power play. Tate back out. The Mallards dropped to 1 for 5, but they come up without anything before the latter stages in terms of chances on that major penalty power play, and under a minute and a half to go. 6-2 Komets. Near side and center for the Mallards. Kovac sit down wide of the Komet goal. Solnak the order to the near circle for Binkley. He sends it up the near side to Thompson in center. He drives it in diagonally. Thomas far quarter Mallards out. Laid it off in the far circle to Vail. It takes it in behind and tumbles. With just 1 minute 9 seconds left here in the third period. A Mallard penalty call coming up to give the Komets the power play. Vail went down back of the goal, swooping in deep in the Mallard zone, though no one as yet has made a move at a white sweater toward the penalty box for the Mallards at 18 minutes 51 seconds of the third period. And the moments after, the Mallards dropped to 1 for 5 on the power play, aided in part by that power play. The Mallards have closed the shots on goal gap for the game to 26-25. 11 shots in the third period for the Komets. For the Komets here in the third period. A total of just 3 shots, though they have the Schaafsma goal, the only goal of the third period, compared to the Mallards with 11. But that matters little at this point. The real story, about a 4-goal Mallard deficit on opening night against the Fort Wayne Komets. Also for the Mallards, not the way you wanted to start a lengthy season series. The Mallards will see the Komets more than any other opponent this year. 12 head-to-head meetings coming up by the time we're done with the regular season. Well, the discussion's continuing. Now we have referee Lucas Martin over to Gary Graham and the Fort Wayne bench. It seemed we would have a penalty call before that last whistle against the Mallards after Vail toppled to the ice behind the Mallard goal. But by appearances, that was an incorrect diagnosis. Mallards have 5 skaters on the ice and no one in the penalty box. Meanwhile, Tate, who stepped out of the box at the end of his 5-minute major in the lengthy Mallard power play, is back in. So there's some confusion in conferences, first at the Fort Wayne bench and now at the Mallard bench between the referee and Terry Roskowski. To state the obvious, not necessarily thrilled with the way the evening's gone. So after all that, it's still 5 skaters aside. A face-off right outside the Mallard line near side. The Town one back in over his own line from Vail. It's losing traffic in the high slot. Finally for the Mallards, it's cleared up the middle by Gibson out the center ice. Weber feeds Vail along the near boards and neutral ice, dumping down the wall and behind the goal. Mott out to stop the puck. Gibson overskated back of the goal. Baptista fed into the near circle. Vail fired. Glove save made by Mott, hugging the puck against his chest to bring the whistle down on his knees. Gibson, a tap for Mott after Mott bailed out Gibson when Gibson lost the puck down low in his own zone, leading to that chance for Vail. Under a minute to go, 53.5 seconds left in the Mallards opener, 6-2 Komets. The face-off in the near circle in the Mallard zone. Cazzola will take it for Fort Wayne. That top line for the Komets, 7 points among them, back on late. Cazzola won the draw from Todd. They battled to the near half boards. Todd hacked it rink wide to the far half wall. Grabbed by Janice, skating up the far side to center. He sends it across to the near side for Harris crossing the line atop the circle. His shot, he misfired one in behind. Harris after it, steering into the slot, but right to Cazzola. He'll skate up the middle at the center ice. Far side, a feed across the line to Szydlowski from the far circle. He fired wide. Camera on the boards, loose out high in the near wall. Schaafsma kept in at the point, tapping to the half boards. For the Mallard, Janice clears rink wide to center. 22 seconds. Cazzola across the stole, near side at the red line in traffic. Jousting with Janice after dumping all the way down on Mott of the Mallard goal. He plays to the side to Panzarella, wheeling into the near circle. 10 seconds. He feeds it across the far half boards in his own zone. For Gibson, who moves it up the far wing to center. To Patano, shot it all the way down. Tricky carom off Nagle and just wide. Well, a final thrill before the horn, but few enough of those in the course of the evening for the Mallards. The opener is over. The Fort Wayne Komets walk into the iWireless Center and spoil the Mallards' party as the Mallards kick off their 20th season by giving up 4 unanswered goals on the way to another opening night defeat. The defenseman Binkley with 1 goal and 2 assists for the Fort Wayne Komets. Jamie Schaafsma, a pair of goals for the Komets, including the game winner. The Mallards have now lost 8 straight home openers in regulation. They're winless 0-8-1 in the last 9. since last winning a home opener all the way back in 2005. The final, the Fort Wayne Komets 6, the Mallards 2. Up next, we'll have the Mallards postgame presented by Genesis Physical Therapy to cap off opening night here at the iWireless Center.
The locals love Edwards Creative, and you'll love them too. Voted #1 most loved printing service in the Quad Cities. Known for award-winning graphic design, large format printing, luscious beards, and charming personalities, Edwards Creative is your open net goal for banners, trade show displays, and vehicle wraps. Hey, they do this for a living. They're informed, trained, and motivated to show off what it is they do oh so well. So come and visit them in the Thunderdome in Milan to scope out the largest sign and display showroom in the area. They like using their right brain to show that you're using your left. Follow Edwards Creative on Facebook or check them out on the web at edwardsideas.com. Let's get creative.
More than 25 years of hits and live shows. More than 25 years of Alan Jackson. Friday, November 18th at iWireless Center. Alan Jackson's Keepin' It Country Tour. The songs you love from the man who made them famous. Alan Jackson and special guest, Lauren Elena. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Alan Jackson, Keepin' It Country. Produced by Outback Concerts.
Welcome back to Mallards Hockey, presented by Genesis Power Sports Performance. Brian LaBelle-Reed joining with the iWireless Center. And for the first time this season, with the Mallards post-game show presented by Genesis Physical Therapy. Well, the Mallards will have to get turned around quickly. A rematch tomorrow night in Fort Wayne. And they have a pretty good idea now of the size of the challenge in front of them after they were beaten tonight by the Fort Wayne Komets 6-2. A decent enough start for the Mallards over the first period plus, with the Komets scoring the final 4 goals to, in the end, roll to a victory to get the season going. Looking back at this one, Mallards actually jumped in front first. Justin Kovacs, on his Mallard debut, scored the first of the season at 10-41. He was assisted by Sam Warning and Alex Patin. Patin an assist in his Mallard debut, and the Mallards in front. However, that lead lasted only a shade under 5 minutes. At 15:38 of the first, Sean Szydlowski from Jason Binkley and Cody Soule tied the score at 1 at even strength. We finished the first still even at 1 apiece. Fort Wayne outshot the Mallards 8-7 in the first. Komets grabbed the lead for the first time early in the second period. At 2:42, Gabriel Beaupré scored on the power play, his first, assisted by Brady Vail and a former Mallard, Mason Baptista. Mallards replied in kind to tie the score at 2. At 7:45, Mike Modfredo scored his first, assisted by Alex Goodbranson and Nathan Todd in his Mallard debut. However, that tying goal from Modfredo was just about the end of the good news for the Mallards on the night. The Komets just about put the Mallards down for good by ripping off 3 straight goals before the second period was over in a span of 9 minutes, 9 seconds. First, Schaafsma with what proved to be the game winner, the first of his 2 on the night at 8:24, his first of the season, and even strength goal assisted by Binkley and Cazzola. Binkley himself struck to make it 4-2 for the Komets at 14:58. He was assisted by Sean Szydlowski at even strength. At 17:33, Garrett Thompson capped off a banner finish to the second period for the Komets, scoring at even strength, assisted by another former Mallard and Kyle Thomas and Don Milan. That goal made the score 5-2. At that point, it probably was beyond the Mallards' reach. We finished the second with the Komets holding that 3-goal lead after outshooting the Mallards 15-7 in the second period, just to underscore the point that it was in the second where the Komets really took control. On to the third period, and the Komets removed all doubt early in the third, just 1 minute 52 seconds in, and the odd man rush, as pretty as you like, Schaafsma scored. He was assisted by Szydlowski and Cazzola. Schaafsma's second of the night, second of the season, making it 6-2. That proved to be the final. Mallards did have some chances the rest of the way to at least make it closer. The closest they came perhaps when Coyle ripped a shot at the goal post trying to score against his old team. He also missed the netting close. Nevins had a fine chance, but he couldn't quite connect in on the doorstep. We also saw Parks in tight along with Janice, foiled by Nagle, who was there when needed by the Komets on the evening. Meanwhile, the goaltending story, not a pleasant one for the Mallards. After 2 periods, Adam Bay, making his debut for the Mallards, was replaced by C.J. Mott. So the first 5 goals for the Komets scored against the starter Vail, who gets the L hung around his neck. No decision from Mott, who gave up the 6th and final goal in the 3rd period. Mallards actually outshot the Komets 11-5 in the 3rd, but it made no difference. Komets for the night outshot the Mallards 28-25. Mallards finished up at 1 for 5 on the power play. The Komets were 1 for 3 on the man advantage. So over 40 minutes of action. Vail in goal for the Mallards faced a total of 23 shots, made 18 saves, gave up 5 goals. In relief, 1 goal surrendered again by Mott, 4 saves on 5 third period Komet shots. Nagle on the way to the victory, facing 25 shots, giving up a pair of goals, making 23 saves against the Mallards. As the Mallards dropped the opener of the 12-game season series between the two clubs. The attack for the Komets, somewhat surprisingly, led by Jason Binkley. 1 goal, 2 assists for 3 points tonight after he had 1 goal and a total of 7 points all of last season. No surprise that we also saw Szydlowski enjoying a big night this evening for the Komets, along with line mates Schaafsma, who scored a pair of goals, including the game winner again, and the rookie Cazzola, promising addition, to say the least, with 2 assists tonight for the Fort Wayne Komets. Szydlowski also ended up with 3 points on the evening. Szydlowski had a goal along with a pair of assists. For the Mallards, the goals came again from Manfredo on the power play after Kovacs got the first of the season in his first game for his new team. Mallards 0 for 1 overall, Komets 1-0. Mallards 0-1 on home ice. And the long wait for a home opening victory will go on another year for the Mallards. The Fort Wayne Komets win their first road game of the season, and now will go back home looking for back-to-back wins against the Mallards tomorrow night, who have to try and avoid a sweep against a very good hockey club on the road at what is sure to be a difficult environment at Allen County War Memorial Coliseum in Fort Wayne. We certainly hope you can join us for all the action. Again, for our listeners in the Quad Cities area, tomorrow night will be our first radio broadcast on AM 1230 Fox Sports Radio in the Quad Cities. So we hope if you are in the area, you can join us, or again tomorrow night and all season long on myqcmallards.net for the ECHL.TV audio webcast. Here tonight, a 6-2 home opening loss for the Mallards at the hands of the Fort Wayne Komets. Brian Lavelle saying good night, and thanks again for listening to our opening night broadcast from the iWireless Center.
25 years of hits and live shows. More than 25 years of Allen, Texas. Friday, November 18th at iWireless Center. Alan Jackson's Keeping It Country Tour. The songs you love from the man who made them famous, Alan Jackson, and special guest, Lauren Elena. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Alan Jackson, Keeping It Country. Produced by Outback Concerts.
Mallards Hockey has been presented by Genesis Power Sports Performance out of Fox Sports Radio 1230.